judiciously, and right now you're tuning in right now World Combat Sports.
Happy holidays, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. Once again, you're listening to World Combat Sports. What's good? It's one day out before Christmas. And once again, I'm wishing everyone a happy holiday. You know what it is. For those of you that's out there getting ready, however and whatever you may have planned to make it happen, I wish you nothing but the best. Be safe out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to give you a drinking and driving lecture. This is not one of those freaking channels because I'm assuming all of you are adults and we good to go. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing I can say about that. The topic of discussion off the rip, and it's going to be many. I want to talk about this fight of the year. You know, I'm going to get in some details about, you know, a lot of fights I want to see happen in 21, both boxing and MMA. But I want to first start off by welcoming everybody that's in the building, live chat, whatever the case may be. Salute you for supporting World Combat Sports. And we're going to get it popping. So if you look at my thumbnail, Teofimo Lopez, the current undisputed lightweight champion, was fighter of the year. All right. And he should have been. He should have been fighter of the year. All right. His fighter of the year recipient was Tyson Fury, the current WBC heavyweight champion of the world. These was co-fighter of the years that was put out by Ring Magazine. So, I'm looking at this stuff, just giving my own opinion of it. I don't think Tyson Fury should have been on the list for many reasons, but I'm going to get to him. As for Teofimo Lopez, every bit of it. For what he was able to accomplish, I just would have wished more fighters would have took that type of courageous avenue. I would have wished a lot of fighters just took that, run the gauntlet by all means necessary. Body armor on, confidence. I got my team with me. Let's move as a unit and let's get it done. But yet I do remember, way back when his dad was telling people on the mic, yeah, his son was going to be a champion with 15 fights. His son's going to be a champion with 15 fights. People wouldn't even believe in him. They wouldn't even believe in Lopez Sr. And then it happened. And, you have people out there diluting it for what it truly is. He beat a world champion. He beat a solid opponent. So I even took pictures of, Teofimo Lopez and Richard Commey before they even fought. Solid opponent that he beat for the IBF championship. So, his dad's freaking premonition came to fruition. And truth be told, people was like, Richard Commey wasn't nobody. He didn't do anything. And I have to beg the dipper because Richard Commey was indeed a solid caliber opposition for Teofimo Lopez to step in there. And that's just talking about the championship. But I also have to take a step back because Masayoshi Nakatani was indeed a worthy opponent. Nakatani could have indeed been in the situation of Richard Commey. Was he 18-0? He was ranked above Teofimo Lopez in the IBF heading into that fight. And they took the fight, man. Yeah, they said some shit was going on with Teo and stuff like that, but him and his team took the fight. They took the fight, man. They accepted. They took the fight with Nakatani. The same Nakatani who just stopped Felix Verdejo, who is no longer with Top Rank. The same Nakatani that people was praising for giving Teofimo hell in the first part of the fight and acting like, okay, yeah, you know, he went in there and did what he had to do early in the fight, but he couldn't get it done. But yeah, he still gave Teofimo some work. That's the way boxing's supposed to be. But in the end, who had the hand raised? Teofimo. Then he goes on to defeat Richard Commey. He steps in there with the top pound for pound. Now, of course, it did not happen in recession, you know, as I'm saying it. You know what I'm saying? It didn't happen, you know, due to COVID and all that. You know, he had a little pause in between that, you know, that break. But still, the fact remains, those were some tough fights leading up. He had Masayoshi Nakatani in 2019, July, I believe. December, he had Richard Commey, 2019. And, you know, I was at the Edis Tatley fight. And this was only, look, this, you know, the Edis Tatley fight, people wasn't even cheering. They wasn't even freaking, you know, rooting for the fight. It was quiet up in there. And he ended up stopping him with a body shot. I was at that fight. That was April 2019. Do you know Teofimo Lopez fought 4 times in 2019? Do you know he fought 4 times in 2019? He fought 4 times in 2019 and 1 time in 2020 to zip up what he did in 2019. You got to give him a round of applause. You got to give him a round of applause on that shit. 4 times at the level he's at. 4 freaking times. He stopped Diego Magdaleno in 7. I think he stopped Edis Tatley in what, 4? I think, I'm not sure. He stopped Edis Tatley in it might have been the first round, round 5. Yeah, round 5. I was 1 round off. I said round 4. It was round 5. And then he went the distance with Masayoshi Nakatani, and he stopped Richard Commey in 2. And he went the distance with Vasil Lomachenko. Give it up for the true fighter of the year. Real talk. The true fighter of the year. Because when I get to damn Tyson Fury, there's no way, no how anyone's going to tell me that he was able to accomplish the ruler of success that Teofimo Lopez did in 2019 to 2020. There's no way. There's no way you're gonna convince me of that. But 4 times in 2019, and what we can consider quality opponents. Diego Magdaleno, Edis Tatley, Masayoshi Nakatani, you know, who was undefeated, tough as they come. Richard Commey, and then Vasil Lomachenko with 1 loss to Orlando Salido, 2-time Olympian, you know, considered the top 2 pound for pound. You know, everybody didn't give Teofimo a chance, and he went in and got it done. And I know people are tired of hearing individuals talk about it, but this is what I admire about the fight game and just courage as an individual. Because for me, I look at certain things when I reach a certain level I haven't been before. I'm saying, you know, I got to challenge myself that my body and mind is potentially able to push past this. I just need to find out how, especially, you know, when you have a limit and your threshold, your pain threshold is there. And you're like, what the fuck? But you got to push through it and see, can you make it? And with Teofimo Lopez, for him to do what he's been able to do in his first division as a champion is just commendable beyond all means. I want to see more fighters do that. I really want to see more fighters take that challenge and take the risk. And you know, I have to give it up. I have to say that one fighter that's talking the talk, and I believe him when he's saying, and that's Stevenson, Shakur Stevenson. He seems like he's one of those guys that has that mindset that you're gonna have to shut him down and shut him up. So give it up to Teofimo Lopez for really being the true fight of the year. I don't know why the hell they put Tyson Fury out there, but Tyson Fury should not be on that list. Real talk, Tyson Fury should not be on this list as a co-recipient of the fight of the year. Absolutely not. 21 strong, first in the building, man. I salute you. What's good, man? Appreciate you pulling up. Now let's get to Tyson Fury. And yeah, you know, if you're a Tyson Fury fan, you know, please don't go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Hang around and shit. So Tyson Fury, man, we know what happened when he came back. He fought Sefer Seferi, Francisco Pianetta, you know, common opponents, you know, who freaking Pianetta been in there with Klitschko. But still, come on. So the big fight he had on his comeback was Deontay Wilder. Of course, he went to a draw. And I'm not the one to sit up here and get into all this. Well, it was a draw, but Tyson Fury really won and all that. No, it was a draw. It was a back and forth, but I'll say plenty of times over, I truly believe that Tyson Fury was knocked out by Deontay Wilder in the 12th round, and that Jack Reese gave him that Jake LaMotta attention. But anyway, moving on to Tom Schwartz and Otto Wallin, and you know, the fact he went to wrestling and didn't take the motherfucking immediate rematch, he came back with a plan, and he was able to defeat Deontay Wilder February 22nd this year. Now, this is where my dilemma comes in. If you take the quality of the opponents and you compare them to Diego Magnolino, Edis Tatley, Masayoshi Nakatani, I know Teofimo Lopez didn't take, you know, he didn't take a hiatus and come back like Tyson Fury. I understand that, but just take the last three opponents before Deontay Wilder. All right. The rematch. Of course, it's going to be Wilder, the first one, and then Tom Schwartz and Otto Wallin. All right. Those is three opposition. Okay. Deontay Wilder was a WBC champion for a long time. Now, I take that Masayoshi Nakatani, and then I'll take that Richard Commey, and then I'll take that Vasyl Lomachenko. You compare the two. Who did it better? You know what I'm saying? It would have to be Teofimo Lopez because he picked up the chip and he picked up the chips. He picked up the chip, becoming the champion, and he picked up the rest of the chips. For Tyson Fury, this is where my dilemma comes in at. If by chance Richard Commey would have had somewhat of the same reign, I'm talking about Richard Commey. He's been reigning champion for over 5 years. That would have been more of an accolade to pin to what I'm to prove my point that Teofimo should have been fight of the year. But this is what we're looking at. We had individuals look at Deontay Wilder like he should have never smelt the back end of a top of pound for pound list. He should have never did it. We have individuals saying that Deontay Wilder, who reigned over 5 years as a champion and went in there for his 11th defense, he wasn't doing shit in boxing. So I want you intelligent individuals. I know you out there listening. I want you to help me understand. And it's a rhetorical question, a generalization, right? I want you to help me understand how, if a fighter that defended his title that many times and held it for that many years, how can a fighter come along and defeat the fighter that catapults him into the pound for pound rankings and fighter of the year? Am I missing something? Seriously, I'm just saying, am I missing something when I'm asking you? If you never provided the appraisal for Deontay Wilder while he was champion, how is it of value when Tyson Fury defeats Deontay Wilder and then he gets thrown as fighter of the year? Because Deontay Wilder never even considered fighter of the year. You never even considered nothing. He wasn't on the pound for pound list or none of that. But then when he's defeated by a neighboring fighter as Tyson Fury, a known cheat, he went in there and defeated Deontay Wilder, and all of a sudden, the prestige of his opposition for which he defeated, who never received the accolade. Deontay Wilder never received the accolade, but Tyson Fury receives the accolade. Now you tell me how that looks. You tell me how that looks. Because people, when people try to explain certain things to you, they always want to say, "Oh man, you using that race card, you doing that." But I'm just helping. Look, I'm basically providing an open question to anyone who choose to tune in and respond. And if you want the link out there, I have no problem with dropping the link on anybody who wants to discuss it. You can have your own views as long as it's on boxing, man. That's what I'm talking about. But explain to me how the US champ doesn't get the push in 2019, because he was still champion in 2019. How does he not get the push when he continued to fight and then stepped in there and provided Tyson Fury with a rematch that he did not take immediately? How does Tyson Fury receive all the credits for defeating a champion for which people did not evaluate him at a high standard when it comes to boxing? How does Tyson Fury walk the stage as if he's the honor grad? How does that happen? Because basically what you was telling the boxing public, that in no way, shape, or form, the way Deontay Wilder fights, he cannot be, in the pound for pound rankings because it's heavyweight, and neither is he considered one of the best fighters in the sport. So if that is indeed the case, and we've heard it 1,000 times over, how does Tyson Fury defeat Deontay Wilder with the towel being thrown in, and all of a sudden Tyson Fury is the co-recipient of Fighter of the Year? It's no way, shape, or form that should even be on paper. You know why it's on paper? Because they're trying to build up one single fight. That's what boxing does. They're trying to build up one single fight, and people need to understand how that dirty game operates. If you really, understand that it consists of a whole lot of debris and individuals that are absolutely biased to no end, then you will have a more calmer, understanding of how this sport works, the ebbs and flows. They're trying to build up the Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua fight. Tyson Fury, since his return, has finally picked up a title. It was a WBC title. Anthony Joshua has somehow, some way, finagled and damn tiptoed himself, through becoming a two-time unified champion. And they really want to see the Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua undisputed fight, so a lot of people can put money in their pocket. But I just truly, ask the point, honestly, to anyone who's listening: how is Deontay Wilder considered a deficient boxer? Whenever his name come up in the language of the sport, people look at him as like, nah, he don't have enough skills. He doesn't have this. But yet the man was 42-0, 41 knockouts. He was 42-0-1, 41 knockouts. 41 freaking knockouts with 42 victories. How was Tyson Fury able to become Fighter of the Year by basically defeating a fighter who you never provided the proper evaluation as being the top of the food chain anyway? You never really gave him that accolade as being one of the best boxers in the sport. You never did it. Michael Johnson Boxing in the building. What's good? State of mind. Salute to you. Till hands down Fighter of the Year to me. What he did to Commey then taking all the belts from Loma. He deserves fight of the year. Man, that's all I'm saying. I don't sit up here and say I'm being fair, because it's a lot of biased shit out here and people say what they want to say. But man, I'm absolutely clear that Teofimo Lopez should be the single recipient. Michael Johnson said mofos called Wilder a bum. He couldn't box and never had him ranked number one. They never had that man even close. Like, I can take you back to all the pound for pound lists prior to February 22nd, 2020. I'm talking about, let's just say, for instance, the last 5 years. Let's go back the last 5 years. Let's just go back to 2015. You know, was it a heavyweight on the pound for pound list? Was it a heavyweight on the pound for pound list? If you're going to put Oleksandr Usyk on there for his unified title as a cruiserweight, why did Deontay Wilder never make the list and he defended his title over 5 years? It's just extremely puzzling to me, people. Real talk. It's a lot of distortion to that damn visual that I'm trying to create here. Why in the hell, if somebody had the belt as long as he has, he never took the pound for pound list? He's never been invited. He's never been in the conversation. But yet Tyson Fury defeats him and he becomes co-fighter of the year because he defeated a fighter that boxing never recognized as being a special boxer for his accolades and accomplishments. You never recognized the man for his accolades and accomplishments. You never said he was special. You would hear people here and there, oh man, Deontay Wilder has an equalizer. He has the right hand. He has this. But on paper, for the boxing fans to recognize and build upon it, we did not see that. We did not see the boxing fans be able to see Deontay Wilder on that list. But yet we see Tyson Fury on there now. And that's why I call the red flag on boxing. It's bullshit. You have too many branches out here. And it seems like people are willing to basically prune those branches where they see fit and only allow certain branches to grow as they need be. And I seriously think that they prune the shit out of damn notoriety for Deontay Wilder. Because now Tyson Fury sits behind Oleksandr Usyk on the ESPN pound for pound list. But if I go to the Boxing Writers Association of America, I believe also that Tyson Fury is number 8 behind Oleksandr Usyk, who's number 7. How can a heavyweight who defeated a heavyweight that received no top 10 rankings as pound for pound best, how is he elevated as if a franchise belt was in place? How is he elevated to a position of hierarchy when the person that he defeated never was holding that position down to begin with, like Vasyl Lomachenko? Vasyl Lomachenko was actually sitting right behind Canelo Alvarez as the top pound for pound fighter in the world for a while, but never Tyson Fury and never Deontay Wilder. We never really seen no heavyweight just homestand on that. The only top fighter Fury beat this year is Wilder. The best was Cupcakes. Man, absolutely, I agree. You know, the best fighter that Fury defeated this year. But we understand he defeated Wilder, which was his best opposition to go to his ledger. But what I'm saying is the discrepancy is no one recognized Deontay Wilder as that special fighter for his accomplishment. He wasn't on the pound for pound list. They didn't say he was one of the best in the sport. So how does another fighter as Fury come back off a drug-induced hiatus? We're talking about a fighter who never defended his unified titles, not one. He comes back and has ragu phobia. He fights Cephas Ferry and Francisco Pianetta, and then steps in there with Deontay Wilder. Boom. Okay. He has a split in 5 fights on his return. He faced Deontay Wilder to a draw, and then he has damn Tom Schwartz and Otto Wallin. In 2019, he didn't do anything special. I'm just saying, 2019, I mean, he didn't do anything special. Because Deontay Wilder came to a draw with Tyson Fury, and he didn't lose his belt. But then they turn over into the year 2020 at the MGM Grand pre-COVID, and he loses his title, and all of a sudden he gets recognized as Fighter of the Year for defeating a fighter who was never recognized by the analysts, by the experienced boxing analyst that's out here. He was never recognized as being anything but a WBC heavyweight champion with a right hand. Isn't that what y'all said? State of whatever. Basically saying I'm just biased against Fury. If they I guess you were saying if they gave it to Wilder, you would agree. I would agree what? Obviously, you don't follow me enough. I wouldn't agree. Because I didn't consider Tyson Fury to have done anything. You know what I'm saying? If Tyson Fury came back off a hiatus and then Deontay Wilder beat him in a rematch, I wouldn't have not considered Tyson Fury anything but one of the top heavyweight fighters that Deontay Wilder has fought. So therefore, you know, you seem to have not followed the channel that much, but the recognition and the sole recipient would still be Teofimo Lopez. Now, if he defeated Anthony Joshua, I can see that. But the reason why we're looking at Teofimo Lopez in your state is I'm trying to help you understand that he defeated Richard Commey, who was a champion, and he defeated the unified champion along with the top pound for pound guy. So basically, you are making zero and minimal sense when you get on here and say, I would agree. You're absolutely wrong with that. Okay, let me help you. Let me help you out with something for the holidays. Let's keep it on boxing. You know, we're not trolls or whatever, right? I'm not here to babysit, but make sure you keep it on boxing to a point where you're not up here trolling. And we ain't talking about no racist stuff when it comes to that. And get out of here. You know what I'm saying? If that case, I would have said nobody deserve it if it's all about race. But appreciate you, you know, put some energy into the live chat. Keep on putting that energy into those home keys. You know what I'm saying? But back to what I was saying. I truly believe that Teofimo Lopez should be the recipient alone off his accomplishments leading up to the finale. And that finale was the top 2 pound for pound. The top 2 pound for pound. He not only took his titles, but he defeated a guy that was top 2 pound for pound, along with picking up the IBF strap. That alone deserves it. When it comes to Tyson Fury, he did not deserve to be co-recipient on that, because the only thing that is, they're basically trying to say, okay, let's build up some type of energy, hoping that Tyson Fury gets this shot at Anthony Joshua so we can be good. We want to build up this fight and make sure that people tune in. Oh, look at this magazine cover. Let's turn it into the UK magazine. And, you know, let's keep it live and direct to try to boost up this fight. And Tyson Fury is supposedly the Ring Magazine's co-recipient of Fight of the Year. So we look at Tyson Fury. We hope that moving forward, that Deontay Wilder gets his rematch. All right. and they're able to fight for a trilogy. A lot of what's in the media is pretty much leaning towards what? Confusing the audience and the boxing fans on if this fight will ever take place. You know what I'm saying? We hope it's going to take place in 21, but there's a lot of speculation that's out there that, Tyson Fury is going to fight Anthony Joshua. Deontay Wilder may fight somebody else. They're still in court trying to figure it out through litigation. It's an ongoing process. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely an ongoing process. So we really have to be patient and see what they come up with. Did you keep it on boxing with Glovegate? Yeah, because gloves are one in the ring. Gloves are one in the ring. So you say, did I keep it on boxing with Glovegate? You know what I'm saying? Is gloves war in the ring? Yes, it is. One of the required pieces of gear that a fighter have to basically use as a boxer is gloves. Now, if you manipulate those gloves, it is considered something that's outside the regulations of boxing, and they will consider you a cheater. There's a lot going on with that situation with the gloves of Tyson Fury. That pictures, they can lie, but in this case, there's a lot of depth of speculation that Tyson Fury didn't play by the boxing rules. And not only that, my topic is Tyson Fury should not be the co-recipient of Fight of the Year. He should not. We're not talking about Glovegate. That's kind of way off the subject. You know what I'm saying? But if it's still sitting with you, I believe you totally believe there was something wrong with the gloves. That's why you're bringing it up. You know what I'm saying? I like the energy. Maybe the wrenches can pay you some attention. I'm gonna let your comments stay in there for a minute. Because you still keep it on boxing though. You might be a bit, outside of the knowledge aspect, but go ahead, drop your opinions in there. It's all good. I'm just not going to continue to read them because you're not talking about anything now. You know what I'm saying? I always give people the opportunity to speak on boxing with substance. But then when you start, okay, let me denigrate, defame for no reason, it becomes a bit childish. But back to Tyson Fury. If they try to set up a fight with him and Anthony Joshua like they're trying to, then that's out of my hands. The only thing I can do is talk on it. But really, the fans want to see a trilogy. Real talk. Because I'm going to tell you like this. I believe ring IQ wise, Tyson Fury exceeds that of Anthony Joshua. That's just my opinion. I believe Tyson Fury goes in there and defeat Anthony Joshua. They did fight for unification. My entire focus right now is for this trilogy to happen so that Deontay Wilder can go back and get his belt and regain his belt. And go on another title run until he retires and hang up the gloves. And within that span, he's able to step in there with Anthony Joshua. That's what they really want to see. They don't want to see Deontay Wilder and Dillian White. But over time, I was like, God damn it, let Dillian White sit up there and freaking boil over like he's been doing, waiting for his shot. And then to see him go in there against Alexander Povetkin again and get starched, I said, nah, let's see Deontay Wilder fight him. I said, let's see Deontay Wilder. Go ahead, man. Deontay, sign up to fight Dillian White. Real talk. Sign up to fight Dillian White. Because, the dude is a glutton for punishment. Serious, the way he thinks about combat is to basically jump outside what may be considered a patient offensive game plan, and he will absolutely abandon it and go into a reckless tirade where he gets knocked out. Now, I have to back up a little bit because Dillian White only has 2 losses on his record. I'm more so saying about him placing placing himself in an adverse position, and he doesn't need to. He just need to be more patient. If a fighter connect on you, Dillian, you be patient and you set it up. You box and you let the knockout, come to you. You just don't go in through the front door winging punches, and you in the heavyweight division. So I'm like, God damn it, Deontay Wilder, yeah, go ahead. If that fight presents itself, and all of a sudden Alexander Povetkin at the young age of 42 or whatever he is, if he got this extended freaking COVID-19 phase 4 and he can't come back, you know what I'm saying? Okay, sign up a fight between Deontay and Dillian Whyte. Over here in the US, we'll watch it. Real talk. We will watch Deontay Wilder and Dillian Whyte. But who do we truly want? We want Wilder Fury 3. That's who we want. But if by chance that fight isn't there to be made contractually, we will take the fight with Wilder and Whyte. Man, that's going to be sweet. That's going to be sweet. Real talk. Teofimo Lopez is indeed the true recipient of the Fight of the Year. Period. He's the true recipient. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's talking about no lineal BS. You know what I'm saying? He's the only fighter that sit up here and held on to a lineal because he wanted to go out there and be a dope fiend, a crackhead. You know what I'm saying? That's what you don't get credit for that shit. You don't get credit for going out here being a crackhead dope fiend and disrespecting the sport of boxing and never defending your titles and just abandoning the sport and then coming back and on the shoulders of the mentally ill, on the backs of the mentally ill, you come in here and say that, oh, it was cause of mental illness. Nobody's talking about that, huh? How Tyson Fury just took advantage with his PR team and say, you know what, come back to the sport. And the first thing you want to do is have them show sympathy for you, pity, because it was mental illness. Yeah, that's what it was. Come on, man. Come on. Nobody's trashing Joshua. Joshua is a robotic, rudimentary type of fighter that happened to be in one of the heaviest division in boxing. And I still feel that his skill set is undeveloped. I'm not saying he don't have any heart. I'm not calling him a bum like a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? I just look at him as being one of those fighters who's walked very well. You know, they chaperoned him through the titles. You know, and then when Andy Ruiz walked in there, he was up here giving us the sign that Andy Ruiz is going to take the titles anyway. Here, hold my titles, Andy. Hey, you're a last minute replacement. Hold my titles. Take pictures with my titles. Okay, great. And then Andy Ruiz crushed him. Let's not forget, this is supposed to be one of the top heavyweights in the world, and he got crushed. He quit. Anthony Joshua quit. You know what I'm saying? He quit. Your man quit. Deontay Wilder's never quit. He never quit. Never. And look, Fury can't even lay claim that he stopped them. They threw in the towel. But anyway, shout out to Team Teofimo Lopez, man. Shout out for the true recipient of Fight of the Year. And more people should tune in and speak the same language. Let's give it the way it's supposed to be given. That is absolutely boxing politics that's blended in with this recognition. It's total bullshit that Tyson Fury is co-recipient and identified as Fight of the Year, coming off a fight in February 2020 of a fighter that they never provided recognition for anyway. I can see if he was on the top pound for pound list. All right. I can see if they actually obliged Deontay Wilder and put him on the pound for pound list for him being champion as long as he has, and also what he's been able to accomplish with his resume is 42 victories. But they didn't. So Tyson Fury did not defeat a fighter who was on the pound for pound list. He defeated a fighter who possessed the accolades, who represented the accolades of going out here and boxing and building up a solid resume for the depth of opposition that he had. And then let me peel that on both sides, right? What I mean by quality opposition. If you go back not too long ago, where was the heavyweight division? All right. So people say, oh, he ain't fought nobody. But you obviously don't understand too much about the sport of boxing, because the heavyweight division does not have the depth of killers that one would think. So what a lot of people, I would say, if it's U.S. fans, I'm speaking for U.S. fans, and I can provide other fans in there from neighboring countries, right? But what they did was compare him to across the pond fighters who they was freaking enamored with. The Tyson Furies, the Anthony Joshuas, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Alexander Povetkin. They would sit up here and say he had a better resume. But then, he's a multi-time individual who popped dirty. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, he was able to win some small damn litigation because he didn't take a banned substance before it was banned and on purpose and all this other shit. But yeah, he's a multi-time freaking drug cheat. So therefore, if you're going to compare Canelo Alvarez to Cumberland once and say, well, we still hold him accountable for Cumberland, well, you need to do the same for Alexander Povetkin. So exclude him out. Who else do we have left? Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. Those are the two names that Deontay Wilder, when he was reigning champion, he was in the company of. He was in the company. Those were the top three heavyweights. He's top three heavyweights. He fought Tyson Fury twice. Not until he's defeated, they provide another boxer with Deontay Wilder's former belt with an accolade Deontay Wilder should have already received. In my lens, that would have been fair. That would have been fair if Deontay Wilder would have been recognized as that specific fighter for his accomplishments. And then if he was defeated by Tyson Fury at that point in time, being on the pound for pound list and also combining that with his boxing accolades, then we might have a leg to stand on, so to speak. But it still doesn't supersede Teofimo Lopez's freaking accomplishment. Fighting 4 times in 2019, 2 killers on the back end, Nakatani, Richard Commey, and then come over here and fight Vasily Lomachenko, who's on the pound for pound list. There's no question. It's motherfucking no question. It's easy. It's easy. On World Combat Sports, I do. Teofimo Lopez is indeed the fighter of the year. And that is the decision, and also respected decision of my the group of individuals that are voting along with me. You know what I'm saying? My panel, they all agree Teofimo Lopez should indeed be fighter of the year solo. You know what I'm saying? Nowhere close to the cover. Nowhere close to the cover. For fighting someone like Sefer Safari. Who? Francisco Pianeta. What? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you need some more names up there. Tom Swartz. Otto Wallin, who put that cut over your right eye. Who had you leading all over the place. Tyson Fury is no one's hero. But he may be in the eyes of those who are on that level also, as being glorified. You know, when you go to dark places, you find some unsavory individuals that are used to being, you know, followers and failures in life and shit like that too. So they're more so link up with individuals who's about that life. But has Tyson Fury improved, so to speak, as far as his boxing accomplishments on his return? Yeah, he picked up the title. Do I consider him to be a boxing cheat? Absolutely. 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 It doesn't matter how many times he's over here in the US. The fact is, the solo recipient of the Fight of the Year should be Teofimo Lopez, and Tyson Fury should be worried about stepping in there for a third time with Deontay Wilder, period. That's what we should be concerned about right there. You know what I'm saying? That's really the importance. So what are some big fights we looking for in 2021? You know, starting off with boxing, what are some big fights that we're looking forward to in 2021? Drop them in the comment section, man. You know, what's some big fights you looking forward to? Let's start off with my boy Teofimo Lopez. You know what I'm saying? I mean, hey, no, maybe I should start off with Canelo Alvarez. Let me start off. I've talked the first half on Teo. Let's speak on Canelo. Who should Canelo fight in 21 outside of Abner Yildirim that we're looking forward to? So this is going to be a blend of Canelo Alvarez and Jamal Charlo. So Canelo Alvarez, you know, he's coming off that Callum Smith one-way victory. So therefore, I'm looking at it like, who should Canelo Alvarez fight that we really want to see? And I would say, first and foremost, I would say at middleweight division, I would rather Canelo Alvarez fight Jamal Charlo. I would rather Canelo Alvarez fight Billy Joe Sanders, but really a part of me without getting off track, right? Because it's so much potential led by one man for 21. Canelo Alvarez fighting David Benavidez or Jamal Charlo is very interesting to me. One, because he has David Benavidez's old belt without defeating David Benavidez for the belt. All right. He fought for a vacant WBC belt. So of course, common opponent. You know, damn, he got my belt. I want to go over there and face him. So I would like to see David Benavidez and Canelo Alvarez. I would want to see that fight in 21. Or I would like to see the fight with Jamal Charlo and Canelo Alvarez. Definitely. I would definitely like to see the fight of Canelo Alvarez, Jamal Charlo, or Canelo Alvarez, David Benavidez. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what about Billy Joe Sanders? No, not at all. I'm not looking forward to another one-way motherfucking performance where Canelo walks up out of there with that WBO strap. I'm not looking forward to it. I don't want to see it. I do not want to see that fight. I want some big names. If he's trying to clean out the super middleweight division and he has Abner Yildirim in February, I'm just telling you fights that I would like to see in 21. Starting off with Canelo Alvarez, Jamal Charlo, or David Benavidez. Why? Because Jamal Charlo is moving up, supposedly, and he all of a sudden want to throw the call out there. I would definitely like to see Jamal Charlo, biggest challenge in his career, one of the Charlo twins, move up in weight and face Canelo Alvarez. I think that would be a very, very solid fight for the pound-for-pound king. I would definitely like to check that out. Also, the reason why I say David Benavidez, like I mentioned earlier, is because he lost his belt. You know, he had popped positive, you know, for cocaine. He's been going through some time. And I know it's easy for fans who don't really tune in to boxing and cover it, you know, in depth, that boxers get hit in the head for a living. So not all boxers are perfect individuals outside the ring. They're getting punched in the head. So you have people with different personalities, and you don't know if they're going through depression and all this other shit, right? So therefore, David Benavidez popping for cocaine, you know, coming in 3 pounds overweight. It's some shit that was going on, bro. But he should deserve the opportunity to go in there against Canelo Alvarez for his old, you know, stripped WBC title. I want to see that motherfucking fight right there. King Mitch in the building. What's good? He said, big up comeback. You see BH talking about 150 on Punch Live. The fans putting pressure on the Haneys. No, I didn't see that, man. I didn't see that. But I get around to it. You know, it's out there. What was said, man? Well, you know, I'll talk about that later. But I got to stick to the subject because, you know, I want the right people to be on here because they scurrying away from, you know, the reality of it. But yeah, that's what I want to see, man. That's one of those situations where you can look at it and say, man, those two good matchups for Canelo Alvarez. You know, that's two good matchups. Oh, Milo in the building. King Mitch, what's good in the building? Canelo will fight a champ at 68. Unfortunately, Benavidez is no longer a champ. I watched Canelo versus Plant. I personally think Saunders trash garbage. Man, I ain't never seen a boxer. Well, I have, but you know, they giving Sanders, I don't know how many nicknames, dog. So Billy Joe Sanders out the question. You know, jettison him and put him in the motherfucking closet. You know, let him do what Joe Sanders do. Yeah, we already know that Benavidez is not the champion there, Mitch. We got it. But he is still a very quality opponent for Canelo Alvarez. Seriously, he is a quality opponent for Canelo Alvarez. Seriously. I would like to see that fight with his height, reach, and a lot of people go immediately jump out the box. Well, Callum Smith had height and reach, man. Callum Smith, man, come on now. This dude went in there, and you might as well put a damn a Macy's mannequin in there with Canelo Alvarez, because God damn it, and put some wheels on that motherfucker and roll them around the ring. He might have been able to get more punches in and have more success. But anyway, it is what it is, man. That fight was just disappointing to me. Even though he went the distance, man, we can't give an A for effort when your body, we want to see your body perform the way. Use that height, that reach, box. You are a legitimate champion, bro. And you just let Canelo Alvarez go in there and act like he was the taller fighter. Anyway, maybe Triple G finally moves up to get another crack at Canelo. All right. That's not the fight I want to see in 21, but I respect the input, bro. This is why. Because right now, Canelo Alvarez is just doing what the hell Canelo wants to do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking for other fighters to do what the hell they choose to do in a way that they're recognized by the boxing community for doing something to be great. Legacy medals. I want to see legacy medals, man, in 21. Legacy. I don't want to see this, well, I got excuses. I got excuses. I got excuses. No. Run the gauntlet. Like Teofimo did. Run the gauntlet. Triple G wanted them put his hands up in the air. Move up in weight or fight one of the names like a Charlo. Fight one of the names Andrade, whatever. Fight one of them names. I don't put too much damn conversation on Triple G, man. He's just one of those fighters that has just stayed and, posted up in the elevator. Every time somebody want to hit a different floor, no big drummer show. No, stay right here on this floor, middleweight floor. I don't want to go up. I'm definitely not going down. I just want to sit here in peace and wait for somebody to walk in that I want to fight. That's not even on my level. Okay. What about rematching Sergey Darian? No. He doesn't rate a rematch. No. So what about Canelo? Oh, yes. Canelo saying he say he want to fight me. Oh, that's what I want. I want a trilogy. I am dreaming about Canelo. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we want the Charlo Triple G. But this is strictly 21 fights. 2021 fights I want to see. Canelo, Jamal Charlo moving up 60-68, or facing a fighter in Benavidez who's already at 68. That's who I want to see. I know Charlo wants Canelo, as he should, but I'd rather see him unify at 160 versus Triple G. That'll get him closer to a Canelo fight. I agree. And why it hasn't happened? Once again, you should be able to take the lead, take risk, and make something like that happen, like you just said. I totally agree with that. Why not challenge Triple G, a common opponent of Canelo Alvarez, twice over, in order to get that fight sometime at the end of 21? You go in there and you have a damn good showing with Triple G. Maybe Canelo will look at you and be like, okay, I might consider Charlo, because he went in there and defeated Triple G and he made it look good. I might consider him for a fight at the end of 21 or early 22. Hey, simple shit. Benavidez seems to be a great match for Canelo. Solid chin and speed. Good punch. Solid chin, hand speed, good punch output, and comes forward. Good style matchup for boxing. Yeah, man. Benavidez, man, I still think he's very good matchup and quality opposition for Canelo Alvarez. Whether Canelo chooses to want to, just keep him at bay, because he might be the type of person to say, do Benavidez sell tickets? What does he have to offer? All this other bullshit that we have going on in boxing all the time. But yet, for Canelo, he did pop for clenbuterol. And also, he has to understand that the WBC vacant title he just won was David Benavidez. So does he have to fight him? No. I'm just saying a fight that I would like to see in 2021 would be Canelo versus David Benavidez, who is tall, he has the range, and he has the dog in him. And Jamal Charlo, who's currently at 60, who's fought nobody else to unify the division. If you're not going to unify the damn division, I don't know what the fuck to say, man. When is Jamal Charlo fighting in 21? Who is he fighting? Who? Next, I would like to see Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury 3 and 21. I would definitely like to see that rematch happen, because it's so much embroiled controversy that's embroiled in these two individuals. You know what I'm saying? Both of them have been at the top of the pinnacle in the heavyweight division. They have been champions in their boxing career. So it would be great to come back off all this controversy, all the downpour of speculation on if and what. Coming from both sides. People have vilified Deontay Wilder, and they have vilified vilified Tyson Fury. Both of them have those bullet points on their side coming from the boxing fans. So this is what makes that fight so damn interesting. You know, they had a draw. It's somewhat the same that we have from Canelo Alvarez and Triple G, except that Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, the fight was stopped. As in Canelo Alvarez defeating Triple G in their rematch. So that's a fight I would like to see 21, right off the rip in the heavyweight division. I would like to see Deontay Wilder go in there and attempt to regain his title against Tyson Fury, the bona fide cheat, and let's get it on. Know your fans are butts about it. Let's get it on. Let's make this fight happen. Let's go. Let's go. No more ducking. No more dodging. One face, one name, one champ. You remember when Deontay used to say that? Hey, that's what I'm saying. Let's go. Let's sign the contract. Let's hopefully everything work out in court, and let's see them back in the ring. Allende, what's good? I be in the building. Salute to you. Eddie Hearn would take care of Triple G, squeezing the last out of that dry lemon peel. God damn, he's squeezing the last motherfucking juice out that lemon peel, boy. The damn acidicness that comes along with it. Milo said, King, miss, you think Canelo taking that risk? Nello is an opportunist. Yeah, Nello is absolutely an opportunist. You damn right about that. Triple G and Andrade, both with Eddie Hearn. It baffles me that the fight hasn't been made. I absolutely agree with that. No one chooses to talk about why the fight hasn't been made, and both of them are over there with Eddie Hearns, which leads me to know that Andrade, I'm curious to see what he's basically said to Eddie Hearns. Has he mentioned to Eddie Hearns his concerns? You know what I'm saying? Has he said, hey, Eddie, I want to fight this person. I want to fight that person. Has he put it out there? He wants to fight Triple G. I seen him in the hallway. You know what I'm saying? When was he in the hallway? 2019? He was in there trying to call out Jamal Charlo. Man, I want to fight, man. I'm here. I want to fight, man. I'm here. Sign the contract. And Jamal Charlo, you know, he's sitting up here acting like Demetrius Andrade is not a worthy opponent. Yeah, he is. He's a champion. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the fuck these guys thinking. I don't know, man. My brothers, I don't know, but I hope y'all got a wake-up call. Serious. I hope y'all getting a wake-up call from what Teofimo Lopez was able to do, and also from what Shakur Stevenson is attempting to do. I hope this wakes boxing up to the point where they move different. That's all I'm saying. Tone, what's good? Appreciate you. Salute. You're in the building. I want the fight between Canelo and Benavidez, but why for Canelo? Benavidez has no the champ. I would be disgusted if Saunders gets an opportunity. Well, I believe Canelo should consider Benavidez because he has his vacant title. Benavidez was a WBC champ before he was stripped for his 3 pounds over. So therefore, you know, boxing, look, we can't say, we want to say it used to be a gentleman's sport, right? But when it comes to this era and day and time, boxers ain't up here trying to say, you know what? It's a gentleman's sport. I'm going to do you a favor, Mr. Benavidez. It was in fact yours. You lost it on the scales. You were stripped. You know, so therefore we're going to say, hey, to go in there and get your title from the one and only Canelo Alvarez. So let's put it in perspective in what Canelo Alvarez is doing right now. Every fight Canelo goes into, from Rocky Fielding to Sergey Kovalev to Callum Smith, what has it been? For a freaking medal. That medal is a championship belt. You know what I'm saying? He's not doing free shit right now. He's not there to be a motherfucking psychologist and say, hey, come over here 1400, sit down with me and my people, and let's see where your thought process is and see if you recovered and see if you're on track so we can make this fight happen and you're going to make weight. I need to see where you at mentally to see if you're stable so we can move forward. Canelo is not doing that, y'all. Him and his team are not being a group of psychologists and therapists and trying to see where Benavidez's head is at to make the fight with him. For the title that used to be mine. But how did I lose it? It wasn't in a fight with Canelo Alvarez. You're not asking for a rematch. You're asking to fight Canelo Alvarez because the WBC title, which Canelo was able to basically finesse, like I said, it would happen. I said Canelo Alvarez, when he went up there and tried to get Abner Yildirim, right? And the zone turned it down. I say, look, Canelo Alvarez is going to find a way to put that WBC belt in there. He's going to find a way to make the fight worth his while. And sure enough, Canelo Alvarez is the unified super middleweight champion. Unfucking believable. Unbelievable, y'all. I could give a shit who's with that promotion company or side or the street guys are on. I do think Andrade would get more opportunities elsewhere. He's a 2-division champion. He's going to have to damn make that decision. Like I said before, about a priority of names, we have 3 brothers who are in the sport that are chasing a Latino fighter. And my only point to make that reference is you should be having individuals chase you in the same manner. You have Devin Haney chasing Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez, they have less fights. He has less fights. He has less fights. He has less fights. You feel where I'm going with this? Less fights. But the accolades far exceed. You know what I'm saying? Then you have Errol Spence. 1 division, 2-time world champion. He's chasing Canelo Alvarez. Why not just stick to the game plan and zip up the welterweight division and focus on collecting the other 2 titles to complete your quest? Your quest is the Errol Spence to unify. That's not Terrence Crawford's quest. That is your quest, Errol Spence, to become unified, undisputed at the welterweight division. Complete that, and then you will still be able to get the bag with Canelo Alvarez. He ain't retiring anytime soon. Unify the welterweight division, and then, of course, Canelo will make more sense to say, you know what? If you want a motherfucker come up here to 160 and get this work, okay, so be it. But right now, you're just the WBC and the IBF champion. I mean, it's not like Canelo Alvarez is going to be able to scoop up those welterweight belts. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not like we can have a replay of Sugar Ray Leonard, Donnie Lamont. Well, they met at 168 weight, I believe. Donnie Lamont was a light heavyweight champ, I believe, at the time. Sugar Ray, middleweight. They had a catchweight fight, but both titles was on the line. So in order for that to happen, Canelo will have to move to 154. That ain't happening. Well, Canelo Alvarez moved to 154. Spence is going to put his welterweight titles on the line, and Canelo is going to put his whatever belt he has. You know what I'm saying? Whatever belt he has at the middleweight division. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna put the damn WBA title. That's not gonna happen. Canelo is not dropping down below 160 for that shit to happen. We just seen with Tank Davis. You know what I'm saying? Tank Davis, his belt was on the line And then Leo Santa Cruz belt was on the line at 130. Now the Sugar Ray Leonard and Donnie Lennon was quite different because the two divisions they was in, they met at a catch weight. In order for Spence to do anything that's considerable to be great, in that same scenario, Canelo have to drop down at a weight that he haven't fought at. Like he ain't trying to fight at that weight to pick up a championship. Spence, he can move up. Of course, it'd be easier for Spence to move up. But is he willing to take that risk? I don't think so. Errol Spence is not, in my opinion, has the mentality of a Sugar Ray Leonard. I'm just keeping it real, y'all. I'm just keeping it authentic. Eddie Reynoso said on TV, as Aztec, I pick who Canelo gets to fight. Hey man, shout out to Eddie Reynoso, man. They moving and grooving and making motherfucking money doing it. You know what I'm saying? They moving and grooving and making money doing it. Once again, they moving and grooving and making money doing it. Every fighter has a guy that picks their fights. Absolutely. But I'm telling you, it's better to pick your fights when you're leading from the front. Now, it's a course of action that you have to take there, Mitch, to get to that point. But why isn't it being done? I'm not making this about certain individuals, you know, and keep on rehashing the same shit. But in 2021, this is all about the fights I really want to see. I really want to see certain fights take place, but those individuals, they're running from behind. I'm not saying Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about right now for the fighters who are chasing Canelo Alvarez. Charlo is running from behind, and then David Benavidez is running from behind. So, looking at that in that perspective, for the fights I want to see in 2021, it's all about if Canelo Alvarez chooses to select them into his freaking on his roster and sit down with Eddie Reynoso and say, Eddie, you think we should fight? You know what I'm saying? They really have to go through and say, okay, this is a good fight. This is not. I mean, right now he's in one, the same position as Floyd Mayweather. Canelo Alvarez is doing what Floyd was able to do, and he's making money, and he's basically solidifying the remaining part of his career to pick and choose and do what the hell he want to do as a free agent. I mean, unfucking believable. Good shit. King said Haney's father, Teofimo father, Canelo's manager, and the list goes on. That's the boxing game. I've heard all three of those guys say it out their mouth. That's why I mentioned them specifically. Teofimo father goes for the top dogs, though Eddie Reynoso doesn't. It's gonna come a time, that we're seeing him going for George Caboso, which I don't consider him a top guy, but I get what you're saying, Milo. You know what I'm saying? What they was able to accomplish on the back end of 2019, I got it with Nakatani and Commey, and then to lock that down in 2020. I get it. I get where you're coming from. Canelo is the top dog. Absolutely. Canelo is the top motherfucking dog. Real talk. Hold on for a split second, y'all. All right, I'm back, people. Appreciate everyone who held tight. Okay, let's get back to it. Teofimo is the top dog, calling out the top dogs at 140. So let me just touch on that as my next. Who Teofimo? Who do I want to see him fight? In 2021. I would like to see Teofimo Lopez fight Gervonta Davis in 2021. Seriously. I would like to see Teofimo Lopez fight Gervonta Davis in 2021. If he has another fight outside of George Kambosos, I would like to see him fight Gervonta Davis. The power to power aspect of it, skill, boxing, where both of these fighters have the power blended in with their boxing skills, and the fact that in this particular matchup, I believe both fighters will get touched up. It will get to a point where they're going to prove who's the stronger fighter, who can outbox the other. It's going to be a show of adjustments. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be so many within 12 rounds, so many adjustments having to be made. It's going to be some adversity in this fight. You can guarantee it. It's going to be who's in better shape. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have to talk about the durability of both fighters, the ring IQ of both fighters. You know, they're going to have to prove who has the quicker hands, who can set up and place the punches correctly. It's going to be so much dynamic, consistent of such a well-rounded matchup when it comes to Gervonta Davis and Teofimo Lopez at 135. It's so many positive boxing variables that you can, make a lot of bullet points for. Power is one of them. Power sell fights, right? So we know Gervonta Davis has power, and we know Teofimo Lopez has power. First and foremost, of anything, people looking at this fight as a potential for somebody to go down. They don't know who, but they want to see someone go down. Now, we don't know who that is because we have nothing to gauge off from their previous opponents. We can't spin the reel back and say, you know what, Gervonta's been down in this fight. Teofimo Lopez has been down in this fight. So that's numero uno, the intrigue. Both of these guys possess punching power, and along with their boxing skills being first and foremost, how are they going to be able to delegate their offensive strategy when they face one another? Who's going to have the more solid game plan to break down the other? We're talking about Teofimo Lopez, man, being considered the undisputed title holder at lightweight, and then Gervonta Davis being up on the floor at Mayweather. Man, this motherfucking fight will be epic. Seriously, it will be epic. It's really no fighter that freaking supersedes the other. Like, going into that fight, even though Teofimo has the belts, people are going to look at it like, well, he's not going to wash Gervonta. Gervonta's not going to wash Teofimo Lopez. So we have this 50-50 dilemma where people are going to look at this fight and they're going to say, man, skill for skill, man, this is going to be nice. Of course, you're going to have the favorites. Fuck the favorites. We're not talking about that. We're talking about their boxing assets, defense, offense, hand speed, quickness, ring IQ. They're pretty much the same height, so to speak. The reflexes, the accuracy. Who's going to maintain discipline the most? Because it's going to take some patience in this fight because they're so well matched. It's going to take some extreme patience because they are matched up very well with one another. The big question mark is, will it ever happen? But this is, of course, what fights I would like to see 2021. I would like to see Teofimo Lopez. And want to know why I didn't pick Devin Haney. The fact that I didn't pick Devin Haney, and people look at like, okay, let's look at Gervonta Davis' resume and let's look at Devin Haney. Let's throw that out the window. Let's throw that out the window. Because both of them have a connection with Floyd Mayweather, right? Devin Haney, Gervonta. But when it comes to excitement, I believe Gervonta Davis, when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, will provide us much more excitement because he has that equalizer. Both fighters possess the equalizer to a point, but more so coming off that knockout with Leo Santa Cruz, Gervonta Davis has the motherfucking power. Whether people want to acknowledge it or not, Gervonta Davis is a motherfucking savage, man. Real talk, he can box his ass off, but Gervonta is a savage when it comes to this boxing game. He's that motherfucking, that predator that you see walking down a roadway with blood on his motherfucking mouth, licking, tongue going all around, licking the motherfucking blood, tasting that shit, salivating for the next hunt. That's how Gervonta Davis, when I see him fight, that motherfucker come off one hunt and looking for another hunt. You know, he ain't satisfied just by going in there and boxing on the outside, sticking behind the jab, you know, landing a power punch here and there, and playing it safe and putting away rounds. If Gervonta gets you hurt, this motherfucker is a killer. Gervonta will go in for annihilation and annihilation only. Real talk. When you're the top dog, you choose what you think Teal's doing now. He's choosing to pursue the money. Boxing fans, let me post this motherfucker right here. You know what I'm saying? When you're the top dog, you choose what you think Teal's doing now. He chooses to pursue the money. Boxing fans don't want to see Kambosos. However, we understand Australia's a big bag, so we accept it. That's real talk. Solid summation, man. Solid summation you just made. Kambosos is not the top guy. The money is there. I just don't want to see it. Teofimo to waste his last fight at 135 on Kambosos. Run it back with Loma. Fight Haney or Tank. Teo size will deter. Teo size will deter TMT from taking the fight. Yeah, size will be somewhat of a difference, but not much. Seriously, they match up very well. We just seen with Callum Smith and freaking Canelo Alvarez. Man, we seen fighters be tall and rangy. We seen that shit already. It's all up to the fighter, y'all. Excuse me. It's all up to the fighter. Like I said before, just what you're mentioning right here about Teofimo Lopez. He's not fighting the top guy, but he fought three in a row. So he has the right to take somewhat considered a soft touch for a heavy bag. You know what I'm saying? Take a light touch for a heavy bag. Get the bag. And then if you choose to fight one more time at 135 pounds, choose the right one that's accessible to you. We don't know who that is. Seriously, we don't know. Look, I'm just giving you on a fight that I would like to see in 2021. I'm not giving you the stamp of approval that is guaranteed is going to happen. Absolutely not. But I would like to see Teofimo Lopez, Gervonta Davis. I would definitely like to see it. So like I said the other day, like, you know, Bill did go on there and say that, you know, put the guy in there with the most power and all that, and put him on the flyers and stuff like that. But deep down inside, if we're talking about Devin Haney in there with Teofimo Lopez, it's gonna be a tough fight for Haney. It's gonna be a tough fight. Listen, I'm not saying that it's impossible for us to see the 8th to 11th round in what we witnessed with Vasyl Lomachenko. All right. Okay. So Vasyl Lomachenko was able to touch Teofimo Lopez a little bit in the 8th and 11th round, 8th through 11th round. Okay. So therefore, we look at another fighter in Devin Haney that doesn't possess that punching power, but they're going off the notion that, oh, we're going to box our ass off. You know what I'm saying? We're going to show you a boxing lesson. That's really not open-ended. Well, I would put it like this. The ceiling isn't extremely high with using that model unless you possess some type of equalizer to quiet the people down. Like, okay, yeah, he can box his ass off. He has a little bit power in there to make his punches start to break down his opposition. You know what I'm saying? Those punches, those power punches, his counter shots, it's going to break down his opposition. Okay. They're not saying that really about Devin Haney because we've seen the stuff with Gamboa. Now, it's not a fight I want to see in 21 because I truly believe that Teofimo Lopez will defeat Devin Haney. And right now, they're chasing Teofimo Lopez for the shot because at this point, with 25 victories, I truly believe that they don't care about taking that one loss on their record because their name is going to take them to the next division. That's real talk. The name is going to take them to 140 if they choose to go up there. He's still Devin Haney. They're still going to boost up the name. But for Teofimo Lopez, I truly believe he goes in there and defeat Devin Haney. But as far as sticking to my point, I want to see off the Kambosos fight. It would be good if Floyd Mayweather allow him to face Teofimo Lopez. Now, who do I feel that Devin Haney should fight? That's for another day. But fight Vasyl Lomachenko. He is a common opponent that Teofimo Lopez has already fought. And then, by the way, you have Masayoshi Nakatani, who just stopped Felix Verdejo, right? And that loss, top rank, released Felix Verdejo. People, when I tell you a name that you look, when I tell you a name that they don't want to talk about, I can tell you two. Just off my live the other day. They ain't trying to fight Vasyl Lomachenko. And they sure enough not trying to fight Masayoshi Nakatani. That's two names in the lightweight division that Team Haney isn't trying to fight. They want the ticket with Teofimo Lopez because they feel that looking at the Vasyl Lomachenko fight, that they have a different game plan and they may have success or whatever. But that's a whole nother live. And I'm just telling you, Team Haney should be thinking about Masayoshi Nakatani or Vasyl Lomachenko. Fight the last opponent that's coming off a loss. Because Vasyl Lomachenko is out there whining right now. So scoop him up. Ask him, do he want to fight y'all again? Because y'all said he was ducking, right? So ask Vasyl Lomachenko, who y'all say that was ducking. Ask him for a fight. People tune in to see Devin Haney, Vasyl Lomachenko. And then if by chance he gives you the fight, you do well, then Teofimo might say, okay, let me go ahead and fight Devin Haney for the next. But make no mistake about it. If Teofimo Lopez fights somebody outside of Devin Haney after the Kambosos fight and moves up to 140, it's not going to diminish his boxing career at all. Understand that. It is in no way, shape, or form going to diminish Teofimo's boxing career at all. You know why it's not? Because a lot of people seen the last Devin Haney fight for what it was. Moving on. Malo, King Mitch, word. We want to see the best fight the best. It's a business first. I agree. We cannot say Teofimo is calling out the top dogs. He is the top dog at this point. Kambosos ain't a top dog. Man, look. Teofimo did call out the top dogs. We're not talking about just now. We're talking about what he worked himself up to. He fought Nakatani, and he fought Richard Commey, who was a champion, and he fought the top pound for pound. Man, who cares who else? Look, the next top dog on that list in the lightweight division, if we want to talk about belt holders, would be Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis, right? If we talking about belt holders, but if we talking about top dogs as far as what you and Milo are talking about, business first, who's going to do the most? Gervonta Davis. We can't just say coming off Alfredo Santiago on when the YouTubers was in front of you and everything else attached to that. Come on, man. We can't sit up here and take that serious. But Gervonta is coming off PPV. We got to give him that respect. D-Ray, what's good, man? Salute to you, bro. I can see Loma winning the rematch. If it happens, he'll have a different game plan. Hey, I don't, Milo, but I respect your OP. You know what I'm saying? I don't see it because I think it gets easier for Team Lopez in the rematch. I see it gets easier. I don't see him coming up with this other game plan. You know, he wanna sit up here and whine like a baby. This is everybody's freaking Messiah. You know, some people had him calling the white Jesus of boxing. You know what I'm saying? He could do no wrong, Lomachenko. You know, you're talking about a fighter who was guaranteed a professional damn title fight before he was even professional. We're talking about the two-time Olympian, roll out the motherfucking red carpet. He had all the motherfucking Hallmark cards sent to him. We got you there, Vasil Lomachenko. You come over to the professional ranks, we got you. We're going to give you a title shot in your second professional fight. I mean, they laid out the red carpet. And since then, people was trying to, on ESPN, trying to basically omit his loss. You know, everybody was comparing him beating Gary Russell Jr., but once again, give Gary Russell no motherfucking props. Then he kept moving up. How many times he fought for a vacant title? If you want to talk about that, let's go. People was acting like Vasil Lomachenko was doing this incredible shit. That's not a fight that I'm looking for. You know, Teofimo Lopez, Vasil Lomachenko. That's not a fight I'm looking for in 21. I want to see Gervonta, in all reality, step up and fight someone the caliber of Teofimo Lopez. That'll be a damn good fight. I want to see that shit in 21. That'll be a damn good fight. On PPV, oh my God. What they said on God. On God, y'all. We want to see that fight in lightweight. Oh, motherfucking God, dog. You know what I'm saying? I want to see that fight. At this point, Tank has a better resume than Haney. He also has a fan-friendly style. I consider Teo the top dog because he beat Loma and took those belts. But I think Tank is more prime time. Solid. Solid. Absolutely. It would be preposterous to sit up here and say, well, when it comes down to it, the A side should be this person, the B side should be this person. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it gets very tricky when people are going to look at this fight, this matchup, Teofimo Lopez, Gervonta Davis. You know, how do we gauge the betting odds? Who is the favorite? Who makes the calls? It's going to be very tough, people, for Team Lopez to come in here and dictate negotiation terms just because they're the unified title holders. And, you know, Floyd Mayweather being Floyd Mayweather, he's going to say, you know what? Divisions carry over. Once again, remember that word. Divisions carry over, y'all. They carry over. So people are going to look at, you know, Gervonta don't have the belts like, okay, we get it. We get it. But then it goes on to PPV, who's going to bring in the money and the fans and everything else. Who's did it better? Both of them have a little claim to that because partially Teofimo Lopez can say, I fought on free TV. I fought motherfucking Vasil Lomachenko. We did over 4 million views on free TV. People tuned in to see us. But also Teo has to consider that he was in there with a dance partner like Vasil, who's top pound for pound. All right. Then you look at Gervonta Davis, like Mitch said, fan-friendly style, knockouts with Floyd Mayweather, TMT, PPV, and in my opinion, potentially could have had knockout of the year over Leo Santa Cruz. So when you blend those two together, you bring them together, right? And it's negotiation. It's up to the teams. That's an entire different live on who should be the A side and B side. Because a lot of people are going to then just take the lightweight division itself and take the credentials that Teo has and say, you know what, Tank is the B side. Listen, that's easier said than actually going to happen. Floyd Mayweather is making the decisions for Tank. Real talk. You ain't going to just go over there and say Tank is the B side because you got all the titles. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen that easy. Speak your mind, sports talk, man. Salute to you. What's good? What's good? Appreciate those of you that come up, pull up, and support WCSA. Smash that like right now. World Combat Sports. What's up, fam? What's good with you, man? Appreciate you pulling up. Day before Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays to everyone that's in the building. Hey, you know, I will periodically say, hit the like button. But once again here, man, just do me that favor and do it automatically, man. Like, that's not something I should tell adults. If you supporting the channel, that's up to you. I don't tell people to leave super chats. None of that shit over and over again, 15, 20 times. Hey, drop a super chat, refresh. If someone's really fucking with you, they will damn drop a super chat, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Drop your boy a super chat. It's Christmas. It's the holiday. If I have to influence you with words, then you really don't mess with me. You want me to ask you. And some people need to hear that. But for me, I look at it like, if you really support the channel, you do what you do. Moving on, man. Appreciate you there. Speak your mind, sports talk. Tank Davis is the beating the world L&B voice. Man, Tank Davis has a name, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be tough for people to believe that Teofimo Lopez will come over here and speak that A side with Floyd Mayweather. Good luck with that. We can't hate on Haney for chasing Teofimo, but he has to fight well if he doesn't get the fight. We don't want to see any more Gamboas. Haney is acting like Tyson Fury. Now, this is more so blended on who I would like to see fight in 2021, but I will address and identify the comments, no doubt. So let's omit the word hate because we have to understand the language when it comes to that. I don't agree with them waiting on Teofimo Lopez. I'm just being honest for my own opinion. There's other fighters out there to fight. You don't have to wait for Teofimo Lopez, who has already made it clear that his next target is the bag. That's it. He has every right. He zipped up 2 tough fights in 2019, went over to 2020 to close out the pandemic with 1 single fight, top pound for pound guy. Boom. Got it done. There's other fighters out here to fight. Are you not confident to take a step in between? Boom, get it done. Now we have something to work with. We need to see a performance outside of an Abdulayev, Santiago, and a Gamboa. Once again, in Donjani. Abdulayev, Santiago, Gamboa. We need to see something other than that. Malo, he was playing defense hard, wasn't he? Speak Your Mind, Sports Talk. I never said it did though, and being prime time helps you everywhere. Everywhere else. Y'all brought up Mike Williams, and he changed the subject. Y'all must be talking about something I haven't seen yet. I haven't seen what y'all talking about, I guess, or whatever that case. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen that. And really for me to speak on a live that I haven't seen yet, it's not, I can't go too much in detail. I can't run that reel. I can't spin it. You know what I'm saying? Because I have to really take a chance to look back at it. You know what I'm saying? But he said, y'all brought up Mike Williams. He changed the subject. Yeah, he's going to change the subject because they ain't trying to give him the fight. But yet, you know, like I said before, to kind of keep it on the lane I'm at right now is the fact that when you have those individuals on your resume up to this point with a Gamboa, what better opponent? If you say the top 25 and the bottom 25 didn't want to fight Haney, then guess what? Fight somebody that's in the bottom 25 and top 25 that's in between and Michael Williams Jr. That's all I'm saying. You have options. But when, you know, Ness asked him about, did y'all talk to Bob about Vasyl Lomachenko? You know, it was the mannequin challenge. They didn't want to do that. They don't want to fight Vasyl Lomachenko. So therefore, if Vasyl Lomachenko was a duck, right? And all these people was out here gullible to think that Vasyl Lomachenko was sitting up here vacating and becoming franchise because he didn't want to. Well, what just happened? I showed you the receipt. Ness asking about that. So I got to keep it moving. Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, a lot of stock is put on a loss in this area of boxing. Tank loses to Teofimo. Okay. I mean, that's your opinion. That would be a good fight, man. That would be a good fight. That would be a very good fight. That fight's 50-50 in my opinion. You know, I'm the one that don't lead. Like, you hear people all the time. You know what? I'm going for Gervonta, but my heart's with Teofimo Lopez. I'm going with Teofimo Lopez, but my heart's with Gervonta. What in the hell does that mean exactly? What does it mean? He was trying to bring up a sparring match, what happened 4 years ago. Okay. All right. Speak your mind. Welcome, I suppose. I had Bill Haney on a live last night. And I was at him again. I had Bill deflecting and bouncing all around. Damn. Hey, man, if you want to talk about that shit, let me know, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know? But I'm not sure what you're talking about because I don't know what that was about. You know what I'm saying? Alexander in the building. Salute. So I would like to see Teofimo Lopez and Gervonta Davis as one of the fights of 2021. Another fight that's going down that I look forward to seeing, and I'm going to touch on it briefly, is he's another top pound for pound guy in Naoya Inoue. I just can't wait to see motherfucking John Casimiro and Naoya Inoue. You know what I'm saying? Man, the one and only D Jefferson in the building, man. Speak Your Mind, Sports Talk. What is good with you, bro? Happy holidays.
What's good with you, World Combat, man? Happy holidays to you, fam.
Look, I'm good, man. How you feeling,
bro? I had that dude on Point From. I told you, man. I told Mike that they came on the show, right? On Speaking My Sports Talk, and I told him I always run into Bill. You know, Bill's supposed to come to my channel all the time, but he don't want to come over there because every time I catch him out, he actually jumped in on the live. to
Hmm.
come at me, because that's how Bill is. He ain't afraid to talk to nobody. You know what I mean? I give him that. But he actually came in the live to come at me, and I was
Uh-huh.
just sitting there laughing, having a good time, and everything. Bill, a good guy for real, man. You know. Uh,
I never
so
said he would. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, he a good guy. I mean, he just doing what he do. I mean, look, Lopez Sr. running around saying crazy shit. Angel Garcia running around saying crazy shit. You know what I mean? This is just guys that's in it for the best interest of their son. So they're
Correct.
gonna put their sons here and much respect to them. But like, yeah, I had Bill all types of corners, man. I asked him about Nakatani. I asked him about Michael Williams Jr. When I asked him about Michael Williams Jr., he tried to act like he didn't know. I said, Bill, cut that shit out. You know exactly who he is. Cut it out,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, man. I mean, Bill
Yeah.
a smooth talker. He's a smooth talker, but that
Oh, he
fight.
is. He is. He
Let
is.
me ask you this, D. He was able to pop up. He don't breach the boundaries over here at WCS, which is good. That's cool. He's giving me what I believe or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't all about no views with me, but I just want to know why. Like last night, I brought up the receipts off the Boxing Voice
Mm.
on Ness asked him about did he talk to Bob and bring up the conversation about Vasil Lomachenko, but also when he was on the Boxing Voice, he attempted to talk about a sparring session where he said Devin Haney stopped Michael Williams Jr. And he did hit him with a body shot, but he didn't drop him on his back or anything like that. So,
Yeah.
of course, his dad had to go in there and talk about it and give the full story. My question is you, off his last opponents, Zaul Abdulayev, Fredo Santiago, 11-0, 12-0.
Right.
Is it too much to ask from Team Williams for them to accept the fight while Teofimo Lopez go over there and get another bag in Australia?
It's not. It's not. And here's the problem that Bill and Devin face on that. And this is just my perception on it. When we look at boxing, and although we believe that Michael Williams Jr., I believe it, you believe it, will give Devin Haney all kind of hell. It's the public, right? So when you start talking about Masaoshi Nakatani's, Javier Fortuna's, Jorge Linares's, the winner of Luke Campbell and Ryan, Michael Williams Jr. kind of get drowned out of that conversation because they desire, right? Now, you and I know that that kid has dimensions, how hard he hits, the way he fights, and Devin Haney, hella problems, but the public doesn't know that. That
I
wouldn't be
agree.
satisfactory. And if Devin Haney should pull through that fight and win, they'd be like, okay, you struggle with some nobody. That's all they're going to do. They're going to bash the hell out of him, right? So now Bill is in this conundrum where if you should not get the Teofimo fight, it has to be a namely opponent. And that's what I kept pressing him about last night. And he was bouncing all around the place. Then eventually he went to the business of it, which,
Yeah.
uh, he really had no choice but to go to the business of it. And he was like, as a champion, it's not just that easy to say, I'm going to get this guy, get that, but whatever. But my thing is this, it has to be someone nameworthy. Again,
Mm-hmm.
Javier Fortuna, Nakatani, whether Luke Campbell or Ryan Garcia, Jorge Linares. It has to be somebody like that
Yeah.
because you cannot have that belt did not win off of a guy and not defend it well. You've already defended against Alfredo Santiago, and then your next defense was Yuriakis Gamboa. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you can't do that, right? And my thing was, this is my guy here, Tyson Fury, and I said, now is Devin Haney trying to move like Tyson Fury? Right? You fight the big guys and then nobody in between, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what Tyson does. Even though he's my guy, that's the guy I root for. I can admit that that's what he does, right? But here's the
Mm-hmm.
difference between Tyson Fury and Devin Haney. Tyson Fury's won everything there is to win before. He's done nothing, man.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury's won every belt there is to win. Every belt. He's won Ring Magazine, uh, Fight of the Year twice now. Only British fighter to ever do that. Lineal champion multiple times because he just established it with Wilder. He's done everything. Haney, you've done nothing. So why are you trying to move like Tyson Fury? You ain't put the work in. You know, you got Tank trying to move like Floyd, but he didn't put the work in. Let's be fair. Tank is in the pretty boy Floyd stage, but he ain't no pretty boy Floyd because he ain't fight nobody. So these guys trying to move like the guys that have done it all, but you ain't done nothing.
When it comes down to the business, D, okay, when he was mentioning you about the business, how's the business any different than Alfredo Santiago?
It was a blinder, fam, and I didn't let him get away with it. That's why I say he was bouncing all around the place. And I'm like, Bill, come on. Because, I mean, you could tell that to these guys sitting there listening to you on live, just really trying to learn something. Can't tell that shit to me. It was even one time we even kind of laughed it off. He said, oh, no, because I don't bother you. I said, Bill, you couldn't do it if you tried. He couldn't do nothing but laugh. He couldn't do nothing but laugh. And you couldn't do it if you tried, fam. No fucking way. So, I mean, but no, it's always entertaining and fun conversations with him. And we laugh and we joke and we go back and forth, and then, you know, we'll get serious into what's going on. And it's just a couple of questions that he deflected from, and he basically wouldn't answer. One was a solid answer on, well, who's next? So I didn't get that out of him. Two was a solid answer on Nakatani or Michael Williams Jr. I couldn't get a solid answer for either of those questions, right? Everything else he was pretty much straight up on. And like I said, he had to go to the business of it, of why he wasn't getting into certain fights. But, you know, when I pushed him about Javier Fortuna, I'm like, bro, I get why y'all didn't fight him before, but this is now. Tapping you on the shoulder now. So Javier Fortuna has to be in the mix. And he admitted he has to be in the mix. He has to. See, these type of things, you know.
Check this out right quick, D. Hold on for a second. Let me let this shit play right here. Because you know the word ducking comes up a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because going off what Teofimo was able to do, people just have to give him credit for what his decisions is going to be next year. And if you want to fight Kambosos, cool. But when you hear talk like this, right?
And sparring, or whether it be in a fight, you know, then you to witness greatness, because that's what Devin is, and we're willing to fight anybody.
See, he's willing to fight anybody, but they shut down Michael Williams Jr. You know, they made phone calls to shut that shit down, and the guy's 14-0, and he'll give Devin all sorts of problems. And they have a history. But they wouldn't fight anybody though. And then he came up with this though.
Listen, and you can have him. He can be the A side. It don't matter. The guy with all the shit. Put him on the A side. Put him up on the fly. Put him on the shit. No problem. But ain't worried about that. Now we came from.
Listen, since you was talking about, did you ask for Basil?
Uh-oh.
You wouldn't fight him?
I want Teo.
Quiet. Why he started? I want Teo. As you know, I didn't even push up on him about Lomachenko last night, and maybe I should have talked to him about Lomachenko, but I didn't. But let me tell you something, man. We all already. Or when I caught him on another live, on Punch Drunk's live, I already put all of that Lomachenko nonsense to rest. And Bill had no choice. I backed him into a corner. He had no choice but to admit to that shit. Because when they took the Abdullah fight, Mauricio Suleiman told them that would sever all ties to Lomachenko. And Bill knew that. And so I asked him, I said, well, Bill, if you knew that if you decided to take this Abdullah fight. Now, this was before the franchise elevation. Let's make sure that the timeline is straight there. This was before the Lomachenko franchise elevation. And I said, Bill, if you knew that Mauricio Suleiman was not going, that would sever your ties by taking that fight with Abdullah, and you know that Suleiman's full of fuckery, why would you do that, Bill? He said, well, I give you 2.5 million reasons why. And I said, okay, cool. So you did it for the money. Don't file there. But that damn narrative about all of this ducking mandatory nonsense needs to stop. Because there was never a mandatory. They never ducked you. Because y'all severed ties before the elevation. See, and you still to this day have people running around. Oh, why he dug him? Why he dug Haney? Because they don't even know the truth. That's why I talk to these guys and I dig it. When I talk to them, whether it's behind the scenes and see behind the scenes, they can say, "Well, no, I don't even know what that dude is talking about." You believe me, man. I'm not coming out with anything that's not true. I'm not coming out with anything that's not true. So whether I catch them on a live, and it's not just Bill, I talk to a lot of people behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Zudo Ramirez. That's why I be knowing what he's gonna do before a lot of people know, because I talk to Zudo behind the scenes all the time, right? And so if I come out with something, it's going to be true. I'm not gonna spread any lies.
Man, I think we had a good point with Team Williams and present that to Bill Haney based off what you know already there, D. And what you know already is that they took the Abdullayev to sever the ties with Vasyl Lomachenko, man. You made the conscious decision in the best interest of getting the bag. Now you at a point where you just came off Gamboa, who was knocked out with an injury from Gervonta Davis. We're presenting you with a healthy opponent. Not only a healthy opponent, but he has dangerous areas to his boxing skills that Devin Haney understands. But yet, it seems like without putting this brotherhood shit into it, it just seems like they really don't want to give the man a shot. Because as I mentioned before, D, how many brothers does Haney have on his record? Out of 25 professional fights, how many brothers are on his record? One,
yeah.
dog.
Well,
what? I would care for you to, if you care to articulate, explain what's going on with some of these black fighters just choosing Mexican fighters to be on their resume. Is it all about the money in the business, or is just the fact?
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. And I can't really knock it, fam, because this is who the other cultures go after, right? It's sort of like this thing, oh, I can beat the black fighter, or I can beat the aggressive Mexican fighter, or I can beat the strong chin, Eastern European fighters. The different cultures, the different styles, stylistic matchups is what sells in the sport. Remember, Floyd was the sombrero beater, right?
Yeah.
So he kind of built that aura as well, right? So it sells. And I think a lot of people, because of the racial tensions and everything, want to apply more of a racial meaning to that. I think it's a cultural difference and a stylistic matchup that just sells in the sport. Even way back, Tommy Hearns and Durant. It's just these stylistic matchups that sells, right? And so everything in this sport and the many sports, because people think it's just boxing, but I'm involved in MMA and football and basketball, mostly basketball and MMA outside of the boxing community. I'm on channels on their lives as well, right? And this element of racial tension, it's all around, right? It's not just boxing. So people are more likely to point in that direction of this is why this is happening. And it's really not the case. The case is that when you're involved in any type of business, you have to do what? Sell, right? And that's what sells.
I believe them taking the Williams fight, waiting for Teo, will definitely sell. I mean, he has a following outside of this YouTube setting that it's a lot of people that's damn gravitated to this guy. He's not a bum. I know a lot of people from certain channels were pushing that narrative that support Team Haney, but you just can't sit up here and support Team Haney and then say, Williams is a bum. Now you have to prove it. You can't look at his resume and say, well, he definitely doesn't deserve the title shot. We say, fuck the titles. Put the titles aside. Fight us at another weight and just fight for the name and then resume. Then it becomes, you haven't did enough. How? You just came off 11-0 and 12-0 fighter with two different fighters. How is it not enough?
So, and even furthermore, like, what have you done? Like, that's why I don't like these, you haven't done enough. Like, okay, if they haven't done enough, fine, but let's compare that to what you've done. You've done, this is the thing, like, let's be honest about it, which these Haney fans they just don't want to be honest about it. He's been elevated twice. Right? He didn't beat the guy. for either of those belts. He didn't.
When,
All right.
when he was a WBC champion, just say he's a super champion, right? Then they send him into recess while he was the WBC champion.
Yeah, because of his shoulder injury. And Suleiman, of course, you know, everything Suleiman does is about money. So he wanted to make money. So
correct.
He put him as a champion in recess, which means he was still the champion. Once the champion was established, he would have every right to challenge that champion immediately for the belt, right?
What recess mean? They was trying to set up another fight for two other Javier and Luke Campbell, right? They was trying to set that up. So I thought he was for the belt. I thought he was like he was in recess and he wasn't the champion, because how can Javier Fortuna and Luke Campbell fight for the WBC and Devin Haney is still the champion and he's not? They're not fighting Devin Haney for the title. So in my opinion, he picked up the title 3 times. He picked up the interim, the WBC twice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He picked up the interim. That's why I was saying he's been elevated. And the WBC and the champion in recess is just like, okay, so being the champion in recess, if somebody challenges and gets your belt, then you got the right to fight them first. They are the champion now, but you can come get your belt back. But since that fight never materialized, there was, you know, he just got his belt back, right? So he still got it handed to him.
He's a 3-time champion without landing a punch. I got you.
Right. That's the point I'm making. And that's the point I'm making. Like, that's the reality of it, man. So if you're that 3-time champion with basically without landing a punch, my thing is this. You remove those belts. What do you have on boxing? You got 10 more fights than this guy, but they don't amount to anything. They don't. So you cannot throw a box rec up and act like you're discrediting a guy over box rec when yours is not impressive, man.
That's all I'm saying, man.
Yeah, I told Bill last night. I said, Bill, cut it out, because he tried to pump up the Gamboa fight. I said, Bill, cut it out. Not here. You're not pumping that. That fight was no good. Everybody that knew anything about boxing knew what Haney was going to do to him. So just stop it. And he let it go. He didn't keep talking about that. Because that was, come on, man. It was a nonsensical fight. You can fool other people with that. You're not fooling me with that. You know, he's not fooling me with that. You can talk, you know, because he's a great talker. He should be an inspirational speaker after all of this is over. He's a great talker, right? But you're not going to convince me with that nonsense. It was a foolish fight. And Tank already beat him out of shape. And not even, come on, bro. That was Gamboa is not a test anymore. We can't talk about Crawford 6 years ago. He tried to say that, you know, well, look with Crawford. I said, Bill, stop that. It was, how long ago was that? Then he just left it alone. Like, come on.
I want people to identify, you know, like you said earlier, you know, this ain't personal. You know, Bill, a good guy.
He's a great guy. I like talking to Bill. He's a great guy.
His conversation, but you have to understand that some of the street talk and he act like he talking to a group of women sometime when he's goddamn trying to be smooth and shit. But I just want you to explain this what he said on the TBV, man. I just want you to understand. Did people not catch this like I did?
When is your son finally going to fight some top competition? Or do you plan to Or do you plan to keep protecting his own like you've been doing? Thank you. Jab.
When we got Santiago, he was ranked in the organization. Now you talk about a world of fighter, and then you talk about being ranked, right? You know, coming up the ladder up the top 25, right? The bottom 25 didn't want to fight Devin, and the top 25 didn't want to fight Devin. So for us, it's all just one and the same. You know,
I don't know what they're talking about.
That's the way he bounces around in defense. You know, because come on, man, like what the hell was that, Bill? What was that? I don't know how Ness and him responded to that, but no way I would have let him. He alluded to that last night about the rankings. I was like, Bill, stop it, man. when you sit here and say who your son is, we were just talking about, like, I didn't ask that question, but that came into the conversation, and he spoke about the rankings. So I'll tell you guys how I responded to that, and I must have said, Bill, stop it, probably, I don't know, 10, 15 times, right? But I was like, Bill, stop it, man. I said, because you and I both know when you sit there and you assess your son versus these opponents, don't tell me about the ranking systems. We know how that works. It can be bought. A rank can be bought.
Correct.
Right? So you know the level of opponents that your son has faced. That's it. It's nothing to, like, come on. Again, a lot of fans don't understand this stuff. So, and it's fine, right? Because they don't dig into this stuff the way we do. But at the same time, when you're talking to these guys, they know they'll calm down with that too quick. Like, if it's fans that he's talking to, he'll keep going and keep going. And he'll convince a lot of them, like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But with me, that shit don't even go 2 or 3 minutes into the conversation. We done with that already. Let's move on and talk seriously. Because that's a facade, man. The ranking systems in every section and body is a facade. For you guys that don't understand that, it just simply is. There are many fighters that are better than guys this rank, but they're not there for monetary reasons. Period.
Exactly. I agree. You know, that's all we were saying. You know, Michael Williams Sr. who went on there and let it be known that they're independent and they just don't have the budget as Haney them is at right now. And I look at it like people need to understand when they use the word hate. We're not hating on what they've been able to achieve monetarily. But right now in the boxing game, we're looking at your opponents on BoxRec and you're chasing Teofimo Lopez. So since Lopez have other objectives, that's what we was trying to slide in with a credible opponent in Williams Jr. to get the fight with Devin Haney. It's not impossible on what we're seeing. The reason why I say that, D, is we have the Logan Pauls and Jake Pauls getting fights on freaking networks where boxers are on the same fight card, bro. On the same fight card.
But
So
they got crazy.
Actual boxer isn't going to get
crazy money though, World Star.
I understand that.
Jake Paul, like, he doesn't need Jake Paul and Logan Paul. These guys they're making a crazy amount of money through YouTube, right? So they don't need anybody to put up any money. A lot of those expenses, it's just a business decision for them. They know that they're going to get their money back, so they could drop $1 million or $2. They could drop that.
But Jake Paul made $600,000 off the fight with Nate Robinson, man.
No. My thing is they could drop that amount. So the expenses that they need to cover is nothing, because they could drop a couple of million if they needed to. Whereas you have a guy like Michael Williams Sr., 300, which I was just talking about this with the ranking system. If 300 had the money to pay for Mike's rankings. It would be there. And people will see Michael Williams Jr. They would make these highlight reels of the low-level fights that he's had. Like, they make highlight reels of everybody's low-level fights that they have. Look at Tank's majority of his freaking resume is a highlight reel of low-level fighters or fighters moving up in weight. That's a highlight reel of his whole resume. And these are just the facts. So if 300 had, say, 300 grand, guaranteed Mike would be in the top 10 with highlight reels, and then he would be knocking on Devin Haney's door, and then it would be official. And I can guarantee you this, it would be much more official than Abdulayev or Santiago, because Michael Williams Jr. is much more efficient than Abdulayev and Santiago. But because 300, Michael Williams Sr. don't have 300 grand to pay for this stuff, this is why we are where we are. But Michael Williams Jr. is definitely more valid than anybody that Devin Haney has fought, because he would put Gamboa to sleep. It's no doubt in my mind that kid would put Gamboa to sleep. And that's Devin Haney's best win. And those are the facts.
Yeah, man, I agree. Unfortunately, you make a solid point about the 300,000, and purchasing the rankings, man. Boxing is a business first, man, and that business come into play, like you just mentioned, when it comes to the rankings. and when it comes to some of these titles. But his dad mentioned it too. He said, if I had the money, you know, we could buy a title too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
we can be up there. But let me ask you this, you know, Devin Haney having the belt, he's still ranked 4th. So who deserves, or not say deserve, who should be in place to face Teofimo Lopez after he go over here and disperse of George Kambosos? Who should be next in line, Gervonta or Devin Haney?
I told Bill this last night that Devin Haney, look, let's be honest about it. He has the belt, right? And by the way boxing works, he deserves the chance more than anybody. The thing is, does Devin Haney deserve his shot to fight Teofimo more than Teofimo deserves his opportunity to go get that bag? That's where Devin Haney has to sit back and wait over Teofimo's decision. Because, bro, you're making money already. You and your dad are not like these other boxers. You guys have set yourself in a position where you're getting promotional. These guys are signed to promotional networks, so they get the promotional, and these guys only get a purse. Devin Haney and Bill are getting their purse, and they're getting promotional. That's why they're making more money than these guys. But Devin Haney's purses are definitely and most certainly not as much as Teofimo's and Tank Davis's. Let's not get it twisted.
Correct.
He may make more money because he has promotional. I just pulled up on Bill about that last night. Like, come on, man, stop. You can't fool me with that. That money chip. I know why you guys are getting more money. And it doesn't have to do with your name, your stock, your value. It has to do with how you positioned yourself in this sport, unlike those other guys. But that's another story, right? That's another story. The thing is this, man. Fans really have to dig deep and listen to channels like World Combat Sports, right? Because we're only going to give you guys the truth about these things. We're going the best to our ability. Sometimes we don't know it all. I don't know it all. World Combat don't know it all. I'm pretty sure he can admit to that. But from what we do know, we're going to bring it to you guys truthfully, man. Truthfully. And Bill Haney, like I said, he's going to say and do anything for his son, and I can totally respect that. But they've put themselves in a position where you're in a dilemma now, okay? And now you have to show and prove. It can't be about the money. If it's about the money, then you have to lay off Teofimo, right? So he can't play both. He can't play both sides, because if you're going to make it about the money, then how are you going to cry about Teofimo trying to get more money than you can pay him?
Correct.
Right. So now all he's doing is running around saying that that's a lie. That offer is not really. And it's like, come on, Bill. And I didn't argue with him back and forth about that, because all I told him is, I don't know. I don't know if it's a lie or not. But
Oh, he talking about the 10 mil with Kambosos?
Yeah. And I told him,
so,
I don't
okay,
know
so what if it's a lie? Okay, let's just say it's 6 million. All right. Can they still meet it? Because basically what Team Lopez was talking about, once they
told
come
me
back,
5. He told me
correct.
5.
Yeah,
Bill said he can do 5 million.
5 mil, but
yeah,
if the way Team Lopez is talking, they come off the Kambosos fight, and if it exceeds that 5 mil, they're trying to go from that price point on up. Yeah, so just say it's 6 to 7 mil they get from Kambosos. They come back over here. They supposed to decrease their price point for undisputed title shot. That doesn't make any sense to me business wise. If you make 7 million in Australia, you come back over here and you say, okay, we can give them 5.
Well, no, yeah, because it's a mean there, so to speak, right? And the mean would be a medium, a mean, a ratio, whatever you want to call it. The mean would be you did 1.7 versus Lomachenko.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do 10 versus Kambosos Jr., right? Now, when you do the mean on that, you come to what, like about 4.6, right? So then 5 is fair. Because you're not a $10 million fighter. You're not a $10 million fighter. You're about a $5 million fighter. So 5 becomes fair.
That's if that is indeed true. They're giving 5 million. You know, you just want the attention for them to show you. Like Team Lopez isn't showing Haney any attention right now with that 5 million offer.
Yeah, but I think he could do that because he has a fight. He has one more fight left. So for you guys that don't know, he has one more fight left with Matchroom, that partnership they have with Matchroom. Now, Eddie Hearn's going to want to make that fight profitable. So between what they can bring to the bank and Hearn can bring whatever, right? They can produce the fight. No sweat.
And I still think it's a bad idea to wait on Teofimo Lopez just because you have one fight remaining and you want to get a bag off of it.
For sure.
You know, you want to get a bag and take a L at the same time. I mean, which one is more important?
All right, for sure. I agree totally.
I'm gonna slide off this subject, man, and get your opinion on this damn Errol Spence shit because I'm not sure who you going for on this Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford deal, but bro, I was basically talking about fights I want to see in 2021, and Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence is one of them. But then I look at it like this: Errol Spence has been talking a lot of excuses. I know recently Terrence Crawford said he must have some screws loose if he think I'm gonna take 70-30. So first of all, who are you going for between Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford?
All right. The fight itself is, I'm a Spence fan, right? So who am I rooting for? I'm rooting for Errol Spence in the fight itself. Now, a lot of people cannot separate that because I like Bud Crawford. I'm not just because I'm a Spence fan. I like Bud Crawford, what he brings to boxing, the boxer he is. Much respect to the dude. I don't dislike Bud Crawford or root for him. I root for him every time because he's not fighting Spence, right? If he fights Spence, then I'll be rooting for Spence. But every time else, I've been rooting for Bud, right? So my thing is this: when it comes to the fight, I'm rooting for Spence. I think either of those guys can win. I think they're the only two guys that can beat each other at 147. I don't think anybody beats Spence beside Crawford, and I don't think anybody beats Crawford besides Spence. So that's how I look at the fight. I'm gonna go with my guy Spence. Now, on the business side of this, with all of this tomfoolery going on around the internet, look, man, again, people just don't understand. Neither of these guys are afraid to fight each other. That's number one. Nobody's afraid to, nobody don't, like Crawford don't want that Spence smoke, that's ridiculous. Spence don't want that Crawford smoke, that's ridiculous. What these guys don't want is to give up too much money because of their value. Here lies the problem. Not Spence and Crawford, Al and Bob. See, people don't understand how this works. Spence uttering out 70-30, 60-40 is just something that came from Al. Trust and believe that. Crawford denouncing the 70-30 is perfectly reasonable because I think that's ridiculous. Crawford denouncing the 60-40 and even alluding to the fact that he's 60-40 is also equally ridiculous. Okay. So, but these guys want a certain amount of money. Crawford wants a certain amount of money. Spence wants a certain amount of money. This is what you guys have to understand here. There is I'm going to use a round figure and say $20 million bag. Okay. It's probably more than this, guys, but just to make it easy, I'm going to say there's a $20 million bag. When we start talking about the 70-30 and the 60-40, we're talking about the 70-30 and the 60-40 out of this $20 million bag, right? So Crawford's like, man, you crazy. I'm not taking those 70-30. All right. And again, I can't blame him. But even if we talk about 60-40, now you're talking about Spence taking 12 million, Crawford taking 8. And that's why Crawford don't feel comfortable with that because he feels like his value is more even. But the argument is that Spence and Crawford both deserve more than what's in this $20 million bag. Now, who's responsible for increasing that $20 million bag to a $40 million bag? This is where Al Heyman and Bob Arum comes in because they're worried about the fight making sense for them. So they don't want to offer enough money to please their two guys, right? Crawford can get enough money he wants. Spence will get enough money he wants. No matter if it's 60-40 or 70, it'll be enough money in the bag for both of these guys to be satisfied. This is why it's Al Heyman and Bob Arum holding up this fight. And a lot of you people don't get it because y'all hear the interviews and this, that, and the third. Crawford came out himself and said, listen, man, Spence ain't ducking me. And then tension started between Bob Arum, top ranking Crawford's team. Pay attention, guys. When Crawford came out and said, man, Spence ain't ducking me, the tension started. Now they're to the point where everybody knows they're going to split. It's because Crawford found out at that time that it ain't that dude ducking me. It's this bullshit with them. Whether it be the pandemic or not, they can't get those gate sales. which means they have to be able to bring back the revenue to cover what these guys want, and they can't do it. Bob can't do it, and PBC Al can't do it without making the amount of money that they want to make.
Well, let me ask you
Therefore,
this,
we're
D.
not getting this fight.
Let me ask you this, D. What means more to you, titles or divisions? Weight
What, like-
divisions, title holders, or titles?
I don't put. I have a criteria.
Out of those two, what
I'm
means
just
more
telling
to
you, I have a criteria of how I rate like fighters, like let's say for pound, and they all hold a certain value. I don't overvalue anything. You understand? Like titles don't mean more to me. They hold a certain value under my criteria. If you're jumping weight divisions, you know, say you jump 4 weight division, but you cleaned out 1 weight division and went 4 belt undisputed, then there's certain values there, right? I don't like value one over the other. I look at them all as accomplishments, and you got to take a fighter's overall accomplishments and, you know, see where you lie at. When you start talking about deals and fights, then you have to look at what they're doing in the respective division. Whether fans don't want to understand that or not, that's what you have to look at. In 147, is what you have to look at Crawford. We can't be bouncing around to what he did at 140, because if you really want to dig into that, it's one of the weakest undisputed runs in history.
I understand that, but when it comes to Canelo, right, they basically tie in everything he's done in every division and up to this point. So if Canelo is being heralded or bow tied with his multi-division champions and who he fought, then people are going to say, okay, you moved up to 68 and faced Rocky Fielding, who nobody knows, and then you took a belt and didn't do anything with it. But when it comes to Terrence Crawford, just like you just mentioned, people dilute the fact that he was undisputed. And like you said, I agree with what you're saying. People say, okay, who did Ndongo fight internal to the U.S.? But then I turn around and say, okay, who did Anthony Joshua fight when he came to the U.S.?
Yeah, but look, World Combat, do you know that Julius Ndongo is probably one of the worst unified champions? Hold on. One of the worst. Like literally, hold on, fam. Hold on. He is literally one of the worst unified champions in boxing history.
We're not talking about him being one of the worst. We're talking about he had the belts, bro.
Yeah, I know he had the belts. So see, that's why I said you gotta look, you gotta gauge how you value these things. Because you can value belts, but if you value those belts with no context, then what does that mean? Like Sugar Ray Leonard going unified against the guys he went unified against versus Terrence Crawford against Ndongo. Like you have to value these things correctly. You can't just say belts and then it's flat out belts. Because how did he get those belts? Julius Ndongo was 36 years old on the decline when Terrence Crawford fought him, and those are the facts. Those are the facts.
But that would go across the board.
That means that he got those 2 belts and completed 4 belt undisputed, basically with a fucking tune-up fight, because Terrence Crawford was leagues above Julius Ndongo when he fought him, and that's exactly how he got him. So how much stock do you think a guy like Al Heyman, when we're at the negotiation table, is going to put into that? What does that have to do with 147? It's not my argument. It's just the understanding that people have to get when they talk about what these guys are looking at when they go to the negotiation table. That shit has not much value.
I get where you're coming from and how your summation on that. But what I'm mentioning is it seems like it's good for some and then is out the window and omitted for others. Now we can talk about how and Julius Ndongo don't stack up with some of the best unified champions. I get it, but he had the belts though. That's just like Zab Judah.
Right.
Okay. Errol Spencer's trying to do something. Zab Judah is the last person to do it. But who did Zab Judah get the belts from?
Yeah.
Spinks, right? Spinks, right? So I'm like, okay, people not considering Spinks as being this guy that we look at as saying, damn, he's one of the best welterweight champions ever. So we look at Zab Judah as being one of these guys who they look at has lost to some of the top names, right? So Errol Spence is trying to become the next unified welterweight champion. And in doing so, he has names out there he needs to fight. So he fought Sean Porter. Is Sean Porter considered great to you or great welterweight? Is Kell Brook considered great to you? Or was he a great welterweight. You know what I'm saying? He's not considered either. Kell Brook is not considered a great welterweight. Sean Porter is not considered a great welterweight, even though he's the IBF and the WBC former champion. Is Sean Porter considered great in your eyes, D?
No, he's one of the top 5 fighters, but he's not great.
Correct. So how is Errol Spence elevated into this notion that Terrence Crawford, who sits higher than him on the top pound for pound list, how are people continuing to push with both hands in Errol Spence back towards Terrence Crawford to pass him up? And he's only a single division champion. He's been competing in this division majority of his professional career, and he should have a better resume.
It's easy. Really, world star. Okay, so like you mentioned Canelo. Here's the thing, and why, again, Canelo Alvarez is considered what? Arguably, or whatever people, the face of boxing. This is what he's considered, okay? Terrence Crawford doesn't even have a face damn near in boxing. So when you take the things that Canelo is doing, they can add that to his persona, his aura, to increase his value. Can't do it with Crawford because those things don't really increase value. They can tag that on Canelo's name, right? And tell these casual fans, yes, not only is he the face of boxing, he's done this champion, and it resonates because he already has that face. It's all marketing. With Crawford, he doesn't have that aura. So those things that matter to hardcore fans doesn't resonate to the fans that's going to buy. We have to take our personal opinions and feelings out of this because I don't disagree with the things you're saying, but those things has to resonate to stock, to your ability to sell, to captivate the fans. They don't care about none of that really, but when you say that it's Canelo doing that to these casual fans, oh wow. But when you say it's Crawford doing that, they're not even into the titles and the divisions and shit like we are. They're like, so what? He did that. Who did he, did he beat this guy? Can you throw a big name? With Canelo, you could throw a Kovalev at 175, 2 weights up. And you understand what I'm saying? You can throw these guys out there that people are always seeing and hearing about. Who are you going to throw out there for Crawford? Who are you going to throw out there for him?
Well,
especially at 147. Especially at 147, who are you going to throw out there for him, right? And that's the thing. This is how the stock in this game, this is how the market, and this is how it works, bro. It's not about what we believe, because a lot of the points you just made, they're spot on. But now you tell me, how does that equate to the suits, to the business and selling power? Because it doesn't. Not for Crawford. It doesn't, because he doesn't have that aura behind him like Canelo. That's why it doesn't work for Crawford and it works for Canelo. It's not the same.
So if Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford name, let's do process of elimination in welterweight division. It's done. It's nobody else between them two. Let's say Manny Pacquiao. We don't know what's going on, who he's going to fight next. If it's Errol Spence, Mikey Garcia, Terrence Crawford. So we say the two bigger names in the welterweight division outside of Manny Pacquiao at this point is Crawford Spence. Is business really going to play that significant of a role when the fight is what the fans are asking for? And these two gentlemen are top pound for pound, D. They are both in the top pound for pound. That's not what we can say about a lot of other divisions. But we have two welterweights that's tied together, and people want to see the fight. That's Terrence Crawford is third, and then you have freaking Errol Spence to sit behind Alexander Usyk. I think that sells too, because in one sense, they want to dilute the fact that Ndongo was one of the worst unified champions ever. But yet, with that 3 division formerly unified, they're saying we're placing Crawford over Spence in the pound for pound rankings.
All right. Let me ask you this, bro.
And then they saying his welterweight freaking resume is garbage.
Right. I don't get into those narratives because that's just silly. But let me ask you this. If Terrence Crawford, Manny Pacquiao most likely will probably go fight Conor McGregor, trying to run for president of the Philippines in 2022. It's a big bag. He's that
Correct.
campaign fund. He's probably going to retire. So let's say they elevate your Dennis Ugas, which is a very good possibility because he holds the WBA regular. So they elevate your Dennis Ugas, right? Now, be honest about this. Ugas versus Crawford or pay-per-view. Ugas versus Crawford pay-per-view or Ugas versus Spence pay-per-view. Which sells more?
If it's in Texas, it's gonna sell more for Spence.
And look, let's say it's in Vegas. So it's not in Oklahoma or it's not in Texas. Let's say it's in Vegas, okay? Which sells more?
I would say right now with Crawford, I mean not Crawford, Spence doing the PPV, it'll sell more for Spence.
That's where it lies. And it's just that simple. See, people keep saying they need each other. Nobody's arguing that. Of course, the right dance partner will increase a pay-per-view. But this is where the answer lies. What do they do alone? I just gave the exact same opponent. It would both be for a belt. Which sells more? We all know that Spence will sell more. We can't say Texas. I wouldn't even do that because in Texas, of course, Spence will sell more. And Nebraska over there, Crawford will sell more. No doubt about it. So we can't go to their home. But if we go to Staples Centers, if we go to Vegas, if we go to freaking Madison Square Garden, Barclays Center, Spence is going to outsell that fight. Which means when you go to the negotiation table, that's what you have to factor in. All of this multi-division and no, you have to factor in marketability. Because if you're going to be a fan, I'm telling you, that's what you have to factor in. I'm not telling anybody how to think. You guys can think what you want, have your very own opinions. But if you're going to be a fan, understanding how this business works and with the way those suits think at the table, you need to contemplate things like that. Both of those guys fought you guys. The boxing suits are going to make more money off of Ugas versus Spence. So the boxing suits are going to pick Ugas versus Spence. They're going to want to put that show on because they get 10 to 15% of a cut, right? So 10 to 15% of 10 million sounds a lot better than the suits than 10 to 15% of 6 million. And that would be the difference of a Crawford Spence. So when you go to a negotiation table like that, and people can start talking about pound for pound and all of that, Spence has two things that gives him more value. Those two titles, only unified champion, and then that stock we just talked about. So 60-40 is fair. Whether Crawford wants to take that or not, I can't blame Crawford for not wanting to take 60-40. Listen up, Spence fans. Listen, Spence fans. You cannot get mad at Crawford not wanting to take 60-40 because that bag we talked about earlier is not big enough. And Al Heyman and Bob Arum need to make that bag big enough. Therefore, the 40% that Crawford don't want to take would be pleasing to him because it would be enough money. That's why it's not Spence and Crawford's fault. It's goddamn Bob Arum and Al Heyman. But if you guys want to argue is Spence doing it and he's the duck, or is Crawford doing it and he's the duck overpricing himself, shoot. Have your argument. It's the damn suits, Al and Bob.
Okay, let's mention this then. If we're talking about the suits, then let's say Crawford's able, if you want to use your hypothetical, right, and slide your Dennis Ugas in there being elevated off Manny Pacquiao. Let's just say Crawford, faces Ugas, win the title. Now both of them have titles. Now Spence come with this 60-40 shit, and Crawford has the WBO and the WBA. Now what we looking at? What's fair and what's not fair? Because I think 50-50 is fair.
I think that they have to negotiate something. Spence would still be the A side, but I think that the 60-40 term would be unfair. And I think that they would have to negotiate something, but Spence would still get a bigger piece of the pie because that would nullify the situation with two belts, but it wouldn't nullify the stock value, right? Selling power. And that's what they're going to use as leverage. Now, here's a different scenario. If Crawford was to take that belt off of Manny Pacquiao, they're 50-50.
Correct.
But taking it off of you guys, right?
Yeah, when you want to, okay.
It's not by my opinion, by the way that
I'm just saying, if you want to elevate, you're using two different bodies right here. You use Manny Pacquiao and you Dennis Ugas. Of course, you Dennis Ugas.
It's the WBA, fam, and Ugas is the WBA regular. So it's the same sanctioning body. If Manny,
I got that. I got that. What I'm saying is Ugas comparable to Manny Pacquiao in the WBA position Come on, there's two different starlights right there. We're
That's
talking
what I'm
about
telling you. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You're right. We agree on that. That's what I'm saying. Manny is the cash cow of the 147-pound division. It ain't no damn Errol Spence. It's Manny. So since Manny's number one, Spence is number two, and Crawford's probably number three, right? As far as selling power. If Crawford was to fight number one, then he evens out with Spence there. So now he'll have two belts. Now he'll have even power because he fought fucking Manny. Okay. Boom, 50-50. But doing that with the Ugas, who has less selling power than Crawford, what does that do for you? Ugas has less selling power than Crawford. So even though you took that belt off of him, you only satisfied both of you guys having two belts, but you still didn't satisfy that selling power, right?
Correct. I mean, that's all I was trying to get to. Some people pretty much validate Crawford picking up the belt, period, and having two straps. No matter if he get it off Ugas or Pacquiao, he still goes in there 50-50. And what you're saying is if he beats the cash cow and Manny Pacquiao, it provides him leverage walking in there with Spence to negotiate a 50-50 turn because he's beat the cash cow of the welterweight division.
Right. But beat Ugas, who is not even, he sells less than Crawford. So it's not like you're going to do freaking numbers fighting Ugas. People know Ugas less than they know you, dude. And it's not, see, the hardcore fans, we all love Crawford. We know Crawford. But the casuals, he's not a big name. So you got to fight a big name. What made Manny Pacquiao the cash cow? Fighting Floyd. Manny, when he fought Floyd, it bumped him to $20 million plus fighter, so to speak. You understand? But it was because he fought the cash cow. That's how he increased his stock. Crawford fought Khan. Khan ain't no kind of fucking cash cow. And then Bob Arum plastered Lomachenko all over the promotion. He didn't even promote it right. So it didn't even sell good. It's not, a lot of people try to put all that on Crawford's stock. I don't think it was half and half. It might have been Crawford's stock, but half of the fact was that Bob Arum was too busy trying to showcase Lomachenko everywhere. Instead of putting the promotion in, Eddie Hearn, them, Khan side of the thing, they were promoting Khan. Why are you promoting Lomachenko?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, I mean, bro, it's just crazy. I
hope they figure it out, but I've been basically mentioning that I didn't appreciate what the language Errol Spence was mentioning. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's going to get their turn. I don't know why Crawford is here. I wouldn't go to none of his fights. Bob Arum mentioning what Bob Arum is saying. To be honest with you, a lot of people may mention Al Haymon's name, but we haven't seen him. We've seen Bob Arum out here making the statements that he's done. You know what I'm saying? Not in too much of a favorable light for Crawford, but he's been out here. For Al Haymon, it's just off what people assume because he's a ghost. We know he's an advisor. We know he's an advisor. But
it's a reasonable assumption, though. It's a reasonable assumption. And, people could say, yeah, we don't see Al, but every fucking fighter over there say, you gotta talk to Al. So if all of the fighters are saying that, you don't fucking need to see Al. They're telling you who you gotta talk to. If y'all don't believe that, well, what the hell else is it to believe?
I'm just saying to the public, man, outside of the fighters.
They run around talking about man down promotion, lion den promotion, but as soon as you ask about business, you got to go talk to Al. So that's a reasonable assumption to say that it's got to be done through Al. Because they're telling you, all of the fighters. I don't know why people would disbelieve that shit. They're all telling you that. Why you got to see Al's face or hear him contradicting himself in the media like Bob Arum does? But that's what Bob does. He'll contradict himself within the same interview. Y'all want to see Al just out here babbling on in the media and that's supposed to mean something? That don't mean shit. All the fighters telling you who you got to talk to. Y'all don't believe them or what everything is pointing to, then y'all just don't want to believe nothing because it's no secret. When people cry and bitch and moan, what do they say? Oh, the way Al and them doing this, the way Al and them at the PBC. So when the fighters tell you Al, what is there not to believe?
I got you, man. I hear you. It's just like, what does the public go off of? They visual individuals. You know what I'm saying? For them, if they don't do their research, they just go off what they see, especially on this social media. I get it. I get the point, man. But a lot of people can't even relate to Al Haymon because he's going, look, they're going off the narrative from the fighters that say, okay, we have to wait on Al. We have to check this out with Al. But no one that's outside here that's looking in the window, they cannot even come close to having association. They can't connect with it because all they hear is a name, but they can't put it to a picture or a face. You know what I'm saying? They can go Google Al Heyman. They can kind of get a visual of the frame that he looks like, but no one can, they don't really know as far as the physical being, like we know Bob Arum, like we know Eddie Hearns, you know, we don't know. And they represent PBC. But let me ask you this, bro, like Errol Spence, man, saying that he want to now try to face Canelo Alvarez and then Jamal Charlo coming out. How do you take that? You know what I'm saying? Like we got two brothers that has star power in boxing. One saying he's trying to unify the welterweight division. What's your take on that, man? Should Spence be trying to go for that bullshit or let Jamal handle it?
I think it's a tactic. I think it's a tactic. And look, man, I'm a Spence fan and a Canelo fan, but Spence not fucking with Canelo, man. Like, let's be honest. And I think that it's a tactic to, all right, what is this? What is one of Crawford's main points? Spence needs, right? So now he's showing you he don't need. Dude, I could go make money here, even if I lose or beat Canelo. Canelo lost to Floyd, you know, I could go here and do this. So I think it's more of a tactic to show that, no, I don't need you. You need to accept this 60-40. Because the idea of Spence dumping two weight classes without ever acclimating to 54 or 60, and this is a Canelo who's beating guys at 160, 175. The idea is totally ridiculous. I don't care how much you love Spence. It's beating that fight, right? And I think Spence and his camp knows it, and everybody knows it. My thing is this, man. Thanks. My thing is this, man. It's a tactic, in my opinion, to let those guys know we don't need you. That's all I think it is. I don't think there's anything serious because Spence also said that he's not leaving 147 without fighting Crawford. And then he said he's looking at Pacquiao and Crawford. Okay. Now, neither of them will probably get Pacquiao. So it's going to be a fight with whoever and Crawford. Because Spence, though, his time is ticking at 147. So I think that's just a tactic.
Solid point, man. I I just want to get your take on that because when it comes down to it, Jamal Charlo has been at 60 doing absolutely nothing. And then Errol Spence has a goal to unify the welterweight division, but now he's trying to act like he want to fight Canelo Alvarez at 60. I don't think it's a good idea. He should just basically solidify the welterweight division, and then that fight for Canelo will still be out there.
Always be there. It'll always be there. Even if he loses to Crawford, I think that fight will still be there because we know that Spence is equipped to go up. Crawford's already come up 3 weight classes. You can't imagine him fighting Canelo at 160. Not to say that these Crawford fans think that he would win, but Canelo would beat the hell out of Crawford. Freaking Javier Lascas dropped him. Like, let's be serious. But outside of that, man, I don't think Spence beats Crawford. I mean, Canelo, but Crawford's pretty much at his ceiling, and he needs to go ahead and, close the show with Errol Spence or at least fight him. He needs to get that done and then sail off into retirement because that dude's a lock-in for the Hall of Fame. Errol Spence, on the other hand, he's definitely not locked into the Hall of Fame, but he has so much in front of him that he can get there. He can get there. So when people say, oh, Crawford needs Spence, Spence needs Crawford, listen, man, neither of these guys need each other for anything more than undisputed at 147. But as far as their careers are concerned, the money that they'll make and all of that, they don't need each other. That's what you guys don't get. The only thing they need each other for is undisputed at 147. If Spence doesn't get undisputed at 147 doing it through Crawford, it doesn't ruin anything. People are talking about, well, that ruins his legacy. No, it doesn't. Or it'll be an asterisk on it. He never fought Crawford. So what? How many asterisks does Floyd have? Ali have? Tyson, Sugar Ray. Like, get out of here with that asterisk shit. It doesn't ruin anything. And they don't need anything more than each other for belt undisputed. That's the fact. Other than that, these guys can both prosper, both be successful, and both move on without ever fighting each other. It just would be extremely disappointing to myself and the rest of the fans.
Yeah, extremely disappointing. And also when they want to move to another division as one of those highlighted names, are people going to pay for them and hold them accountable for what they wasn't able to accomplish
Right.
at the division that we was expecting them to?
They could Raps World Combat, because I just flamed my guy Canelo the other day, right? For the very same concept. He told me, and I put the whole live on it, flaming him for about 4 hours, right? Even though that's my favorite fighter. Look, nobody's above criticism. But Canelo told me that he was going to clean out 160. Did he do it? No. Now he's making that claim at 168, and people still support him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, man.
You know what I'm saying? So it could happen. I mean, look, man, fans are fickle, man. They love you one day, they hate you the next, then they love you again. I'm a product of it. I started out, loved Charlos, Tank Davis. Those were my guys. I removed that love because of the way Floyd was moving Tank. I couldn't deal with it. And when I started to fall out with Jamal after a while. And then when Jamel got up on the stage and cried, I was like, man, both of these done, right? But Jamel won me back over because he showed
the rematch. Hell yeah.
The Tony Harrison situation. And what really impressed me with Jamel, when he started to win me back over, what people didn't give him credit for, was the whole Jorge Cota fight in between the rematch with him and Tony Harrison. And his showing in that Jorge Cota fight, I seen Jorge Cota give difficulties to certain guys. I said that was impressive, but nobody gave him any respect for that. I said that's going to help him in the Tony Harrison fight, right? And it did. He beat Tony Harrison. But this is what won me back with Jamel. I love the fact that he got his belt back. Call outs after he got his belt back. He called out Jarrett Hurd, Iris Landy Lara, and Jason Rosario. And I said, that's the sign of trying to be a champion, fam. And I said, Jamel back in my good graces, right? So that's just an example of how we, as fans, will love him, we'll hate him, and we'll love him again. So it doesn't matter, man. You know what I mean? It don't matter.
That's solid, man. You know, it is like you said, a fickle sport, man. Boxing will always be that way. It will always be like an upset stomach because people cannot digest what they're looking at. You know, everybody's gonna try to consume too much without understanding the recipe. So, you know, I'm like looking at Errol Spence, man. I'm like, damn, focus on what the hell you say you was gonna do. You only have a single division to your resume. Focus on the damn division. And then plus you got some money fights in here. If you can scoop up Pacquiao, that's a money fight for Errol Spence again. And then of course Terrence Crawford is going to be a money fight. So therefore you get paid well before you decide to move up to 54. Good.
Right.
But for Jamal Charlo, he hasn't did nothing at 60.
Absolutely. Just imagine if Errol Spence, okay, so he doesn't fight Crawford, right? And I got to get ready to go after just because I just delayed.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
But just imagine this. Errol Spence doesn't fight Crawford, right?
Yeah.
But you know, Jamal's already talking about going to 168, right? So I'm going to just lay out a plan for you guys and just to show you how things can always be forgiven with these boxers. So he doesn't fight Crawford. He doesn't do it, but he fights Pacquiao. He gets 3 belts, right? He moves up to 154. Jamal 168. Jamel goes up to 160 after Brian Castano and cleaning out that division. Those belts go everywhere. Spence unifies, goes undisputed at 154. All is forgiven. And he never needed Crawford. Then after he unifies, go undisputed at 154, he gets into a fight with Canelo. Never needed Crawford. He never needed him.
Yeah, that's if it works out. Yeah.
And all of that.
Yeah, that montage looks good, but goddamn it,
I know.
That's a motherfucking gauntlet right there.
That's just an example of how all is forgiven and fans will love him again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They will love him again. But anyway, I'm just always objective about these things so that people can get an open perspective instead of just thinking in one way, right? Because all of these things are possible. That scenario I gave you would be beautiful and seems outlandish, but we've seen it all before, right?
Yeah.
Guys actually get hell out of, retire, then come back and go unified, right? We've seen these things before. So Tyson Fury, right? So it is what it is. But hey, bro, appreciate you having me on. I gotta go get ready to crank up and shit. But
Yeah,
talking
for sure, man. Hey, for sure, man. Appreciate you pulling up there.
about
DJ, y'all be sure to tune in to Speak Your Mind Sports Talk, man. Support the channel and happy holidays, my brother. Salute.
happy holidays to you, fam. Appreciate
Yeah.
you.
All right. Hey, appreciate everyone that was tuning in for that boxing dialogue right there. You know what it is, man. You know, talking about this boxing, getting some different opinions, scenarios, you know, hypotheticals, you know, what ifs, you know, different thought processes in general. And you know, hopefully those of you that's tuned in, you know, you was able to digest that all and then come up and derive your own opinion yourself on where you're trying to go in some of those talking points. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. You know what I'm saying? That's a big freaking deal. I mean, that was, you know, when you look at that picture, I just say, okay, if your objective is this, which one is more important? Facing Canelo or damn cleaning out the welterweight division? If he decides that it's not really a priority list for him, then, you know, he's gonna freaking unify potentially, you know, like was just said, Manny Pacquiao. That'll be a big fight for Errol. And then he moves up to 54. I've mentioned this myself. Jamel Charlo takes that belt from Patrick Teixeira if he's able to defeat Brian Castano. And then he vacates the titles. They're everywhere. And Errol Spence, the unified champion, moves up for a vacant title shot immediately. I'm talking about not immediately as in right then and there tomorrow. I'm talking about whenever he chooses to elevate himself to a different position, he gets a title shot. Boom. That's it. He goes in there and fight for a vacant. Now he's a 2-division champion. Now, if he chooses to collectively, you know, set his itinerary up in that 54-pound division and say, you know, now I'm going to try to unify 54. Let's see it. Because he's not going to be able to send that SOS out to the boxing public that he's trying to unify the 54-pound division just like he did the welterweight division. People are going to want him to prove it this time. If you didn't prove it at the welterweight division and you left Terrence Crawford down there, then guess what? You're going to have to do it at the 54. And it ain't going to be that easy. I know a lot of people have the notion that Errol Spence saying he walk around at a higher than super middleweight, higher than light heavy. But it's a difference between walking around at that weight and competing at that weight, especially if it's your first time. So if you want to take that the fact that he's saying that him dropping weight is somewhat degrading his physical ability to go in there and compete at the highest level, then guess what? We want to see you at 54 and see you at you know, perform at a higher level. Let's see what your power look like. Let's see, do you have a lot more detriment to your opposition at 54? Are you able to get them up out of there? Some of the top names is up there. Are you able to go in there and have a good go? Are you able to display a good account of yourself at 54? Is there any way that you can prove to us that what you're saying was absolutely right? You was draining yourself. Now that you're at 54, we see a different Errol Spence. Is that possible? Right now, after all the talk that's been out there, I just want you to stay focused on the topic at hand. Your words is you on the verge of cleaning out. You just recently said you're on the verge of cleaning out the welterweight division. So let's see it. If not, man, I'm tired of talking about this damn Crawford Spence shit. Move on, goddammit. Because you fuck around and go to 54 and Terrence Crawford's still there. Guess what? Terrence Crawford may be the one that unify the welterweight division before he get up out of boxing. And you're looking at yourself like, God damn. God damn. Crawford unified the welterweight division. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, people, You can't have it both ways, man, when it comes to spoon feeding this shit. You can't say, well, you know what, Spence is saying that he can compete better at a higher weight because he's draining himself. But then he don't follow through with the unification. So he decided to move up to 54, and Crawford is still campaigning at 54, and he ends up unifying the welterweight division. Now he continues to be above Errol Spence because now he is a 2-division unified champion, undisputed champion. And if you think it can't happen, if you think for 1 second, if Spence moves up without fighting Crawford, vacates the WBC, IBF, and let's just say he has the WBA, boom, they out. You think it's not going to be easier for Crawford to go in there and collect those badges and potentially over the next 3 years unify the welterweight division? It's possible. That shit is possible, people. Mitch say, I see Crawford taking a fight at 154. One thing I do know, I cannot disagree with you on what you see Crawford doing at 54. But if indeed Errol Spence decides to elevate and take the steps up to 54 before Crawford, Team Crawford Team Crawford isn't sitting up here telling people that it's hard for him to make 54, even though he's older than Spence. You know what I'm saying? I mean, 47. Team Crawford ain't saying it's hard for him to make 47. It's Errol Spence that's making that excuse. And look, Errol Spence is younger than Terrence Crawford, and he's having a problem. Terrence Crawford has been in boxing longer than Errol Spence, but yet Errol Spence is saying he's having a problem. He's weight draining and all that. So I ask this, is it the discipline from Crawford who doesn't smoke or drink? Then, you're seeing Errol Spence who does drink or whatever else he does. Is that the problem? Because Terrence Crawford is older. He's been boxing longer than Errol Spence. So what is it going to be? You're going to say, fuck it, move up to 54? So if Terrence Crawford takes a fight at 54, it has to be worth it. It has to be when Jermell Charlo vacates the titles. Now, of course, a big money fight will be Terrence Crawford, Jermell Charlo, if he chooses to. Because look at this, people, before you say anything about, selling power. If Terrence Crawford decide to attempt to call out Jermell Charlo, oh, man. Now we got a whole nother scenario and selling point here. He wants to come up from 47 to challenge the unified champion. What if Terrence Crawford was even thinking about jumping up there to challenge Jermell Charlo when he unifies the division? Because that is an avenue Errol Spence is unable to accomplish. You know why? Because that is his stablemate. I'm just throwing that shit out there. I'm just brainstorming this motherfucker. It's raining down here too. I'm just giving you that Christmas Eve. You know what I'm saying? That pre-Christmas Jubilee. Errol Spence can't go at the 154 and do some shit like that because Jermell Charlo is his stablemate. But when it comes down to Terrence Crawford, if he really want to fuck the game up, and if he had the leverage, once Jermell Charlo unifies the 54-pound division, which is damn super welterweight, and Terrence Crawford say, you know what, fuck it. I ain't getting a fight with Errol Spence. Let me fuck up the game. Let me call out Jermell Charlo. I don't know if he has the leverage to jump the line with some of the individuals that's already at 54. I'm just saying. And plus, Terrence Crawford is not unified or undisputed down here at 47. So it'd be extremely tough. Extremely tough. But if indeed he was able to jump up there and call out Jermell Charlo and fight for the undisputed titles, it's no need for us to imagine what will it be if he wins. He would be unfucking touchable. That's how he can fuck up the game on his way out the door. He could fuck up the game. Now, hold up. Before you start saying, man, what the fuck this nigga talking about? Who beat Jermell Charlo again? A boxer, right? Don't think it's impossible for a fighter like Terrence Crawford to go in there and defeat Jermell Charlo. It's been done by Tony Harrison. You just have the right game plan for a fighter like Jermell Charlo that's gonna stay on your ass. But he's proven that he can be defeated by a boxer. So if Terrence Crawford was to move up to 54 and defeat Jermell Charlo and come a 2-division unified, it's only gonna push him further up the chain of command. Now he would be a 4-division champion, 2-division unified. Now, if Canelo is still in the game, they like, God damn, we should really consider who's the best pound for pound, because Canelo, he's been fucking off doing what Canelo does, but yet Crawford goes up here and calls out the unified champion at 54, wins. Now he is the 140-pound and 154-pound undisputed champion, and now he still holds a belt to drop back down to 47 and possibly go. That's just a wild imaginary tale when it comes to boxing talk. This is not something that is impossible. Miss say Crawford is older, but Spence is bigger. You know, when you look at Spence, him being bigger, is he bigger because of what he do in between fights? Or we talking about muscle mass? Because I've seen Crawford in person. I've seen both Spence and Crawford. But I tell you, they ain't that much bigger than the other. But athletic-wise, I'm talking about athletic-wise, I would definitely say that overall, athletic-wise, Crawford is more athletic than Spence. Seriously. Crawford, I've seen Crawford do another, play around in another sport. I've just basically had the opportunity to see him outside of another sport, and he's more athletic than Spence, in my opinion. Now, I know it's boxing, but I'm just saying, outside of the ring, outside of those four-corner posts, as an all-around athlete, I have to give it to Crawford. That's just me. But don't say I ain't put it out there. If Crawford was to really fuck up the sport of boxing, being that he is absolutely homestand at the top pound for pound list right now, right behind Naoya Inoue. The only thing that's stopping him from Inoue is, him not being able to face somebody that they really truly respect. Who knows why he's behind Inoue? You know what I'm saying? Being that it's a lighter division, because most of the time you have, let's say 135. 135 on up to super middleweight. We really don't have any other divisions sitting where Inoue is at right now. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to unify for undisputed at the bantamweight division. So with Crawford, he has 2 levels to close out an incredible boxing career. It would take him an unbelievable run physically and mentally to get it done. But Spence won't even be able to touch him. Spence won't even be able to touch him. And you know what, when it comes down once again to black boxers giving one another the shot like that. I can't see Jermell Charlo really giving somebody like Terrence Crawford the shot just because Errol Spence is his stablemate down there at welterweight. I believe a plan is in full effect if he's able to defeat Patrick Teixeira, and the time he would take to make that change to say, you know what, this is the appointment that I plan on moving up to 160, Errol, and what are you going to do? Because I would be remiss to think that they're not in the gym talking about if Jermell Charlo unifies the entire division, the perfect time for Spence to move up and pick up a belt. You know what I'm saying? They are conversing about that. Absolutely. But for Terrence Crawford to move up to 54 and challenge them Jermell, and Jermell say, you know what, before I move up to 60, I'll take this money fight. PPV, two individuals that really don't have no huge selling point. We know the Charlos don't have no huge selling point. So this will match up well. This would be for the crowns. This would be for, the best. This would give these two individuals opportunity to do something where they can pull from the other. Check me out. This is how they can pull from the other, right? And listen, I understand that Crawford is at 47 right now, and they have him on the pound for pound. But listen how they can pull from one another. Imagine that Crawford loses to Jermell, right? Jermell just defeated one of the top pound for pound in the high division. Like I told you earlier, I understand he's pound for pound and he's at welterweight. But if Jermell Charlo is able to defeat Terrence Crawford, will it put him on the pound for pound list for once? I'm not saying he defeated Crawford for his WBO title at welterweight, but he did get the win. Then we look at Crawford defeating Jermell Charlo. Jermell takes his second loss. He goes on to 160 for whatever. But yet for Jermell Charlo, he still has the glory of saying, I was the unified champion at 154 pounds. But for Crawford, he now becomes a two-division unified undisputed champion. Also, he picks up his fourth division along with two undisputed divisions in the sport of boxing. Who's fucking with him? Not Spence. And not only that, people, if he's indeed able to come back down to the 47-pound division and just say he unifies, I mean, he's done. He don't have to come back down to unified third division. He's good. He's good. He would have unified at 140, 154, and then just say, who else got this WBA? Okay, let me fight Ugas or whoever. Okay, I'll unify champ. He's done. Retire. Because for him to complete what I just put out there is not as difficult as you think if Jermell Charlo has all the belts. Because he doesn't have to go out year after, months and months and months trying to collect all the belts. They're all encompassed with one fighter that has possession and ownership. And that'd be Jermell Charlo. Terrence Crawford goes up there. He's able to collect the titles at 154. Boom. Vacates the motherfuckers. Now Spence can do what the fuck he want to do. Goes back down to 47. And Spence is like with his mouth open like, oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? He can fuck up the game of boxing that way. Errol Spence moving up to fight Canelo ain't fucking up shit. Except if he's able to defeat Canelo Alvarez, he will indeed probably move ahead of Terrence Crawford on the pound for pound list just because he's defeated the cash cow in the division for which he was previously unified champion. You know what I'm saying? But yet Canelo is considered the cash cow top pound for pound dude. In my opinion, which holds more value? In my opinion, is the fact that Terrence Crawford would have unified at a higher division and picked up another division to his accolades, a 4-division champion, along with the 54-pound division, while he's still an active champion at welterweight, and he can indeed attempt, without too much tread on the tires, he can attempt to challenge someone for the unified title at welterweight division. Looking at the competition that lies in wait at the 147-pound division, it's not impossible for him to unify at 47 from dropping back down from 54. I'm just putting that shit out there. That's just a ho type shit. Santa Claus in the air, goddamn Blitzer, Rudolph, and all the motherfuckers, giving you some damn, some off the wall shit that could potentially happen in the next 2 to 3 years if it chooses to. It's not impossible. I don't see Crawford beating Jamel at 54. It's just hypotheticals that measure. I'm just giving you some boxing talk, some scenario. All right. I'm just saying he'll fuck up the game if indeed he was able to jump up there to 54 and challenge Jamel Charlo, who has all the titles. That'll be one fight for all the crown and jewels. Jamel Charlo already has a loss. Terrence Crawford has a 0 on his damn defeat on the right side of his ledger. So either both of them gonna come up out of there with a 1 defeat on their ledger. It really does nothing for Terrence Crawford's championship at 147. If he loses, he still can come down and fight at the welterweight division and try to unify for undisputed. Either way it goes, it's a benefit for Crawford, because if he unifies at welterweight, he still is a 2-division undisputed champion. If he unifies at 54, he is a 2-division undisputed unified champion. Plus, in addition, he's a 4-division champion. He can fuck up the game. I don't see Crawford beating Jamel at 54. Crawford's power will not be enough. I think he can beat Erislandy Laurie, though. Solid point, Mitch. But when I look at it, did Tony Harrison have all that power when he beat Jamel Charlo? Did Tony Harrison possess that power? Tony Harrison boxing. He boxed him in the rematch. Did power have anything to do with it? Yes, when it came from Jamel Charlo. But Tony Harrison outboxed Jamel Charlo. But in the rematch, Tony Harrison lost. He became complacent, unfocused, and he ended up being stopped up there bullshitting around. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. Miss Thinkbud can beat J-Rock and Hurd. Man, that would be a good fight too. But the only thing I was doing is just putting it out there that Crawford could fuck up the game if he was to try to attempt that itinerary that I just placed out there for you. And with less freaking flyers. You know what I'm saying? He can get it done. He can get it done in a more expeditious manner if he can sit up here and call Jamel Charlo out, because we know Spence is not going to do it because it's his stablemate. So he can just leave all that Errol Spence shit far fucking behind if he was to get a shot at damn Jamel Charlo. That should be incredible. Incredible. That's what taking risk would be. But look, I don't think Jamel Charlo will get Terrence Crawford a shot, though. I don't think so, man. Malo, I don't know, man. Hurd is huge at 154. Crawford has the ability to outbox him. J-Rock is skilled, but his chin has a button. Oh, shit. You talk about somebody who's all about the damn the line for line subliminals, man. I have to refrain when I'm writing shit, man, to not put so many subliminals in there. But Mitch just said the man's chin has a button. God damn. How disrespectful are you? On Christmas, the day before Christmas, this man is saying J-Rock's chin has a button. Damn. Just so disrespectful. Sound like Stephen A. Smith. Just disrespectful. Just so disrespectful. J-Rock was up here telling you, Mitch, Do not discount fighters just off one loss. Now you have to get on here and drop a comment to my J-Rock's chin has a button. So how, look, check this out. Why you ain't saying that button doesn't re-energize or refuel his chin or reinforce? How can the button be a button that releases every bit of staying power and allows him to be susceptible to a knockout? Why can't the button be a button of reinforcement instead of a button of releasable freaking armor to basically clean out, just basically relinquish all of his armor and staying power? This man said his chin has a button. Damn. I hope J-Rock ain't tuned in, because that man, I've heard a lot of things about J-Rock, you know what I'm saying? But Mitch just say his chin has a button. Damn. And I wonder how that damn, where's that button located? You know what I'm saying? I mean, his two losses, I mean, you know, those two knockouts are brutal. You know what I'm saying? So we can't ignore that shit. But that's a good one. That's a good one. But Hurd, man, I'm still trying to see him get back into the groove after that loss to J-Rock. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still waiting on him to just come back for that nice one. You talking about the former unified champion, man. You know what I mean? I mean, the Hurd that people were saying, oh, he's a weight bully. So the impression I got with Jared Hurd is that when he did take the loss, he was giving the impression that he's about to move up to 60, but it never fucking happened. Is it true the Bud versus Porter's in negotiation? Man, that's what I'm hearing, man. I heard that, you know, that they potentially may be, you know, squaring off in upcoming months. I'm not gonna lie to you and say, yeah, I heard that, but I did read an article that said that, you know, Sean Porter agreed to face Terrence Crawford. But I'm gonna tell you like this: Sean Porter's not defeating Terrence Crawford. They're good friends. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I like Sean Porter, but he ain't defeating Terrence Crawford. He's not. Please, he's not, y'all. This is not Sebastian Formella. This is not your Dinas Ugas, okay? This is not Adrian Granados. This is not Adrian Broner. Sean Porter is not defeating Terrence Crawford. It's good fight. It's a good fight in between time that the people want to tune in and see, especially for Crawford. But let's get it clear. I don't see Sean Porter picking up that win. Real talk, I don't. He's lost to Kell Brook. He's lost to Keith Thurman. You know what I'm saying? He lost to Errol Spence. So you take those three in respective, and then you bring him to the doorstep of Terrence Crawford. Do you seriously think Terrence Crawford is a lesser of those three? After what we see him do to Kell Brook, do you think Terrence Crawford is a lesser of the three? I'm just saying. Every chin has a button. We just been able to see J-Rocks. That's all. No disrespect to J-Rock. I was explaining this to someone the other night. Every chin is just an easy description for when we want to attach it to a knockout. All right. is no such thing as a chin when it comes to a knockout. But what it does have to play, which is too complicated to talk about, because chin, you isolate it with the chin. When it comes to a knockout, people's like, oh man, so-and-so got touched on the chin. Boom. It's not really the chin, because the chin is in front and it is at a location where in boxing, a hook, uppercut, yeah, the chin is where it's at. But ultimately, the problem is, like I've mentioned before, the neurological system, the brainstem, all that shit. It plays a role on your head receiving the impact, and then the functionality. That's what's the problem. The neurological system, when it deals with keeping your functionality and your mechanics ongoing, once you receive a huge impact to your head, it has a lot to do with the brainstem and your neurological system and the way you wired and everything. Because some people can get punched in the head and take serious amounts of punishment as a boxer, and when they retire, they're still able to carry on the conversation. They're just fine. And then you have certain fighters who may have competed in shorter period of time, and they have pugilistica, and you barely understand the word they're saying, because neurologically their brain is telling them, I want to say I'm about to pick up something to eat, but their mouth isn't barely moving, and their tongue is not able to have enough space to speak clearly. That's all from the brain. That's not because they can't open their mouth. They can open their mouth, but their brain is not sending the message. The synapses gap is something delayed. You know what I'm saying? It's not able to function accordingly as a healthy person would. So when it comes to the chin, everybody is wired different. Some people can take extensive amount of punches and, they're good. They don't get knocked down or, land out on the canvas. And other people like Amir Khan, Anthony Joshua, and some other people, time you touch them in the damn jawline, the chin and all that shit, they go straight down. Some people get crushed on the chin. They keep it moving. They can take punishment. And some fighters can't. What about Antonio Tarver? Have you seen Antonio Tarver throughout his career? Have you seen him on the canvas? Have you seen Antonio Tarver on the canvas? Just to prove my point. It's some fighters that can get hit and they don't go down, man. I get what you're saying, though. Mitch say, why won't Hurd move up? You know what? When it comes to Jarrett Hurd, man, I don't know what he's got going on. Because finally, when I had the opportunity to run into Jarrett Hurd, right, I said, cool, there go Jay Hurd. All right, cool. I'm going to get this interview right quick. I'm gonna try to chop it up with Jay Hurd. And this is real talk, man. I even got an interview out there. I haven't even posted to Jarrett Hurd because I looked at it like I could have got an interview with you by my damn self. So Jarrett Hurd is in the MGM Grand. He comes into the media center. I said, okay, that's Jarrett Hurd. I said, what's up, champ? What's good? He said, what's up? What's up? So I walk up to him, and he should understand how the game works. So I said, hey, is there any way I can get an interview with you right quick before you get really, congested with your schedule? He said, oh, I'm not doing interviews. What? You're not doing interviews? No, I'm not doing interviews. I said, so this is the person who lost his title, and we're trying to see what you got going on in your career. J-Rock gave you the business, and it's been word on the street you moving up the middleweight. So you walk up into a media center, and you say you're not doing interviews. So I just wanted to wait around and see if he was holding true to his word. So I have to give him his credit. He didn't do any interviews in the media center because I was looking. I was like, if he would have did one interview, I'll say, dog, are you doing an interview or not? Anyway, I walk outside the media center. It was several minutes later. And he run into the flow of the media people that was out there. It was like 4. And they put up this motherfucking line of defense on Hurd. He couldn't get past him without answering, because you out there in the damn alleyway now. You're not in the media center where you got to have media credentials to get in. You're out there amongst everybody. So now he starts to talk, and I walk up right beside him, and I got my shit out and I'm recording. He looks over at me. He's like, "God damn! I told this cat I wasn't doing interviews." Well, yet you can't get past the media when they see you, and they all have the same curiosity I do. I want to know what you have next. What are we looking at, bro? Are you trying to face Charlo that was fucking with you hard when you was champion? Like Charlo was fucking with Jarrett Hurd hard, disrespecting him, all that shit. Are you going to fight somebody else in the 54? What are you doing? Are you moving up the 160-pound division? Man, he wasn't giving. Y'all just have to wait and see, man. Y'all have to wait and see. I ain't putting that out there right now. Y'all have to wait and see. That's what he said, dog. Y'all have to wait and see. I say, man, whatever, dog. You out here in the MGM Grand just for a fight night? We can't find out what's going on with Jay Hurd? What's going on, Jay Hurd? Are you moving up the middleweight or not? So from what I'm hearing, to answer your question, man, I heard that he was taking another fight at 154. And you know why I think he's waiting around at 154? If that is indeed the case, he's probably waiting to freaking Jermell Charlo vacate the motherfucking belts. I'm telling you, there's a lot of people waiting on that shit. Erickson Lubin. Shit, you got Tim Tszyu in the motherfucking house. Man, there's a lot of motherfuckers at 54 waiting for their shot. A lot. Tim Tszyu is trying his best to get at the damn WBO title. He's trying his best to get a title shot. Believe me when I tell you, these cats out here, they are hoping to God that Jermell Charlo get up off that motherfucking titles sometime soon. Believe me. Not to mention, Tim Tszyu is not like just some of those average motherfuckers. Like Tim Tszyu is ranked in about 3 of them of sanctioned bodies. You know what I'm saying? So we know we got Jason Rosario, who we're not really looking forward to do anything more right now. But J-Rock is still out there, right? But the one that people should be worried about, and hopefully I'm able to get an interview with next month, Sebastian Fundora, the Towering Inferno. Sebastian Fundora is also ranked in multiple sanctioned bodies. I think 2 of them. All right. So be on the lookout for Sebastian Fundora, who's on the hunt. And he's just in front of Tim Tszyu in WBA, and we just see him stop Hamed. I believe that was the fighter's name, but they're pushing him to get that title shot. You got Jay Hurd, Tim Tszyu. You still got Trout at 54. Just keep your eye out. The 154-pound division is going to get very interesting once Jermell Charlo vacate the titles. And let's not forget Arizona Delari, who is much older, but he's going to be, putting his name in the hat too to try to pick up one of those titles again. Even though he has the WBA gold, the WBA regular right now. You have Mikhail Soro. It's going to get interesting, y'all. That shit going to get real good. That's what I'm saying. Crawford can fuck up the game if he's able to get a damn title shot while Jermell Charlo has all the straps, man. Yeah. Yep. But let me change over to you got Charles Conwell too that's pushing in that division. Real talk. You're right about that. But I was kind of pretty much talking about the ones who is on the fast route. You know what I'm saying? in the top 15. Charles Conwell, shout out to Soul City Boxing. He is indeed on the route, but he's still moving up the chain. Like some of the top names I mentioned is the likes of, Sergio Garcia and the J-Rocks, Jared Hurd, Jason Rosario, Jorge Cota, Tim Tszyu, especially Tim Tszyu. He's trying his best. You know what I'm saying? Austin Trout, Landy Lara, Mikhail Sora, all those guys. And not to forget Erickson Lubin. He's the number one for the WBC. We'll see how that goes. You know what I'm saying? Good point. For some of the fights I want to see in 2021 on the MMA side of the house, first and foremost is John Jones and Israel Adesanya, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If Israel Adesanya, who is the current middleweight champion, moves up and face Jan Blachowicz, who is the light heavyweight champion 205, he would have been able to accomplish something John Jones haven't. Though both fighters are undefeated, right? John Jones has a blemish on his record from a DQ, but no one has defeated John Jones. So John Jones currently campaigning at heavyweight. He's looking forward for a heavyweight shot, a title shot. With Dana White, I don't know if he's going to give him an immediate title shot off the bat, but he's waiting. John Jones is currently retired right now. He's just waiting for the right time. So let's just say John Jones, who's put on weight, he becomes the heavyweight champion of the world. Now we set up a super fight between John Jones and Israel Adesanya. It will break records. I'm telling you, from MMA to boxing PPV, John Jones versus Israel Adesanya will break records. Boxing fans who understand combat sports will tune in and watch that fight. Mark my words. Boxing fans will tune in to watch John Jones and Israel Adesanya. Two undefeated fighters, respectively. You know what I'm saying? Two undefeated fighters, never been defeated inside the cage. They will breach a whole nother level from MMA to boxing when it comes to viewership. If these two are able to fight in 2021, I want to see that fight. I want to see it. Seriously. Another fight I would like to see in MMA is Amanda Nunes versus Valentina Shevchenko 3. I just want to see that fight again. Valentina Shevchenko, she's the flyweight champion, 125. Amanda Nunes, 135 and 45-pound champion, bantamweight, featherweight champion. I would just want to see one more. I want to see one more. And while I'm on the women's division, I want to see Rose Namajunas attempt to go in there and become a two-time strawweight champion against Weili Zhang. I want to see her go in there again and try to pick up a title. The first time she won the title, she defeated Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I want to see Rose Namajunas go back in there against Weili Zhang, the Chinese striker, who's very tough. All right, that's what I want to see in 2021 too. Next, if Habib Nurmagomedov returns to the sport, I want to see Habib face anybody that's in line. Look, I as much as I want to say, okay, I want to see him at another division, I don't freaking know if that's something feasible for him to move up to welterweight division and face Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman has proven that he has good hips. He has some decent boxing. And he's a respectful welterweight division. I wasn't never sold on Kamaru Usman, but I got to give him his love, man. I got to give him his fucking love, dog. I do. Because he went in there and defeated Kobe Covington. He defeated Tyrone Woodley. You know what I'm saying? He defeated Jorge Masvidal. I got to give him his motherfucking love, man. And respect as a combat sport practitioner. I'm one of the top mixed martial artists. But I would like to see Khabib face somebody that's undefeated too. And that's very difficult to do in his weight class. You know what I'm saying? That's if he decides to return to the sport of MMA. Right now, you know, he's taking time off to mourn his father